Hello, welcome to the BYB Podcast. That stands for the Backyard Boys. And it's Monday, the day after Easter, 420, a holiday where Jesus has risen, folks. But you know who didn't rise? They fell. The Il Pope, or whatever. I don't even know because I'm not actually Catholic or Italian, but Il Papa, he no makey, he no survive. So rest in peace, Il Pape. And to all my Catholic friends out there, I bid you.
He no go boom.
we're with you in heart.
If you remember back before when the last Pope left and they were choosing this Francis fellow that just died,
Beller.
there was a black bishop who was in the running to become Pope.
The black one.
Are we talking about chess now? Is that what just happened?
I'm talking we might have a Pope that's got some pigmentation to him.
So what you saying is the Moors, they did so much fucking, they turned the Pope black. Holy shit.
Black.
It's full of N-words.
Your great-great-grandfather was a Nick.
Yes. That's right. And that's why you Sicilians, that's why you're a bunch of eggplanters. None of you was any cantaloupes. That's all I'm saying. It's not a big deal. Just saying, right, guys?
Just saying.
Just saying.
Yeah, just saying.
Just saying.
I don't think the Italians will allow Emilian as a pope.
Whoa,
No.
whoa. Too much gabagool coming from that mouth. Watch it, Yingwei. How dare you, sir?
Hey,
It ain't gonna happen.
Oh,
Hey.
we're fine. We're okay with all of the popes, even
The black one.
the Jews now run the Vatican, though. Did you not know that?
Not too.
I did not know that. That's news to me, man. That would actually be shocking and surprising, tell you the truth. I'm not ready for this kind of news. It's not that kind of a day. I stayed up all night. I partied all day, and I'm not ready for this kind of entertainment from you, honk. You're bringing me down just a skosh, just like a peg. I don't know if I can handle all this information that you've been throwing at me, man. It's a lot.
I'll chime up for a minute then. Let me just.
You'll chime up or chime in or chime out.
I'll just chill for a sec.
Did Quad just say he's ready for a pagan? I'm not sure what's going on here.
Whoa. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the parts of the Easter holiday and some of the Christmas are very pagan-like. But no, I'm not. I don't want to get pegged. I don't want no pagan from you guys. That's for sure.
Huge dildo in your butt.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Stop it, Miss Producer. That's uncalled for and very untoward, as they say in the biz over there. The Kiki Cast, right, guys?
Right. Say
What?
something real. Think you're not
Right
telling
on.
them. Yeah, there you go. Good job.
I was going to say, you guys aren't fans of the Kiana cast over there? What's going on? Okay, she got really quiet, so I'll just take that as a no, not fans. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Moving along. Moving along, indeed. But yes, welcome everybody in the chat. Glad to see you all on this wonderful Monday evening. If you want to take a peek in the chat, we do have a poll question for you today, and it has to do with that Coach Scott. Is Aaron Imholte's coach Scott? Is he a troll? That is the question today. Is that guy an actual troll, or yes, no, or he doesn't even understand what trolling is, or Aaron has lied to the guy so much he doesn't even know if he's coming or going, and has no idea what we're even talking about when we say like he's trolling us. I guess we can sway people's opinions on this one a little bit.
Do you think that picture was authentic that you used for a thumbnail? You think that sign was real?
No, I mean, that's not whatever. I remade the image that I found on Twitter, if that's what you're getting at.
No, but you didn't mess with the sign though, did you?
It said got him, so I didn't change the wording that he used.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I mean, it's not exactly correct. Whatever. It's a chat GPT making. So, no, I mean, he did take that picture. We don't know when that picture was taken. We'll have to take Aaron's word for it that was done on Saturday when he went into the gym allegedly to work out, because he's getting fat, folks. He's getting fat. He's getting pudgy around the middle. And as we know, the ladies don't like it. Even the slam pieces of this world don't like that kind of stuff. So yeah, like.
Well, won't they videotape him doing some training coming up here shortly? Isn't that the thing that guy does, is have a camera in there every Thursday and live stream? Yeah,
but Aaron doesn't go in there on those days anymore, so that's kind of the problem.
Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't go in there. The last time that I really broke down and showed Aaron in the gym, like, he was giving advice to some of the kids. He was hitting the heavy bag, and he was on screen. And that was the last time, because I showed it on my show, and I think that might have made some people nervous that we were really looking into all of that footage, like every single one of the Jonathan Geyer, that guy. Every time he went live, we were really like with a fine-tooth comb going through all of that footage. And like every time Aaron was in the in any of that live stream, we all talked about it. So I think to the betterment and the liability and the insurance and all that stuff that Sky had to do, he was like, all right, maybe you can work out here and stuff, but you can't be on camera no more. No more live streaming.
Didn't you actually call the gym once, or no?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I thought I recalled.
Absolutely.
How'd that go?
Whatever. It's been a long time, and I was pretty much just trying to find out if Aaron had his coaching and whatnot. And I did talk to the secretary, but I never really got to talk to Scott for more than just a few moments. He sure has been gabby with like Chad Zumach. Chad keeps calling in on his live streams, which makes me think that Chad's paying that guy, or like giving him a heads up that he's going to be on a podcast. Like, I think they have some arrangement. It just seems like way too cordial and whatnot compared to the phone calls that I've made to him, where the dude seems really standoffish and just wants to hang up on you immediately, like any words out of your mouth. So I have a feeling that him and Chad actually have some sort of arrangement. I can't imagine, though. That is kind of weird, because Aaron and Chad do hate each other also. So that is weird.
They have absolutely nothing else in common. I mean, other than
which ones?
Aaron and Chad.
Yeah. I mean,
they don't have anything in common.
Obviously, Chad's covering that situation not to make Aaron look good. He's covering that situation to make Aaron look like an asshole, just like everybody else in this entire Dabbleverse is. So, yeah. So the only person that he seems to trust, Aaron, I'm speaking of, seems to be like illicit clips and maybe just one or two other people like Pot Awful. He shouldn't trust Pot Awful, but he seems to really be glomming onto that. And I did see that Jesse PS is doing an entire show. We thought he was doing it last Friday, but apparently he is doing it today, where he's giving Aaron advice on how to set up his studio and make it look better and do it correctly, etc., ad nauseum. But yeah, we'll see how this whole thing turns out. I have a feeling, just like every other relationship Jesse PS has, there will be the turn. The turn will happen, my friends. It will happen. That's a fact.
It already
The
has.
turn.
It already has.
Yeah. And anyway, we all know Aaron's not too good at taking advice. The one thing he will do is like listen to Melton, and he'll make fun of Melton for saying certain things, and then a week later he'll be doing the said thing in his live stream. So he takes advice, just not, you know what I mean, not the way you would think.
In a roundabout way. And I am the steward of God.
Hey, is my microphone sounding glitchy? Is that a thing?
No.
You sound. I think PSP will be pleased today. Actually, you're sounding
boisterous and beautiful. I have the pipes of an angel, like Pope Francis, like Pope Francis.
All that was exactly what I was going to say. You took the word.
Did you hear him sing?
Yeah, I heard him sing the trumpet on his way up there. You know what I mean? Indeed. All right. Also, I mean, we could just ask the folks out there to hit that like button, smash to subscribe, and of course, turn the notifications on. And if you want to be part of the show and interrupt it with the voice tips or just a regular old text tip, you're more than welcome to. Use the QR code that Yingwei is pointing at right there. Go ahead and use supertip.gg/BYB, or you could just click the link pinned at the top of the chat, the easiest way, of course.
I can't keep up with
so
this.
Yeah, if you want to use any of that stuff. And also, we got a link tree pinned at the top of the chat. So if you do want to find all of our social medias and whatnot, they're all right there, handy, easy to find. And the other link that's pinned up there is the membership link. So if you don't have a membership to BYB, you want one, there's the link right at the top of the chat. Very simple, very easy to use. Also, Yingwei, are we doing the April showers of memberships?
That's right.
That will bring us May flowers of membership, right, buddy?
They'll be coming out your ass, flowers.
Yes, the kind of flowers that come right out your ass. You can put them in a vase and give them to your mom.
Tell her not to smell them. But
Mother's butthole. On Mother's Day. Yeah, don't sniff these flowers, folks. They may have a little bit of a taint, and not my taint specifically. Anybody's taint.
They'll be tainted.
It tainted love, even if you will.
Twitter,
if you will. All right. What else do we got? I did see that you guys were talking a little bit about Joey C. Had some nasty stuff. Oh no, you said mean things about Joey C. Oh,
and now I'm gonna get doxxed. I hate that.
He's the douchebag you always thought he was.
Yeah, and never thought.
Well, what's going on with that now?
Yeah, what is going
good?
On?
That ain't good
at all.
Tain't good at all. Got him. Yeah, so I obviously I got to set up for the shows and whatever, so I have a hard time watching Joey C at 3:00 when he comes on and starts screaming and yelling about stuff. It doesn't really help me to like get focused and do what I'm doing here at my place, so I usually just ignore the hell out of that dude the best I possibly can.
You were in the chat at TCM.
Yeah,
for a
but I can only
right?
I can only do like 10 minutes of the beginning, and then I have to just.
I just want to make sure that was you.
He's there for
I got a wrench in there at the TCN network today. I'm feeling pretty special about myself, man. I'll be honest. Feeling very special.
He was tight
and not like in the retarded way either. I don't mean like that. I just mean special. Like I'm feeling good, man. Feeling frisky, doing good, feeling
not
happy.
Short bus special, but fixing shit special.
Based on conspiracy theory, absolutely, sir. I haven't seen a coach with such bad, poor judge of character since Coach Paterno vouched that Jerry Sandusky was good with kids. Just like, I haven't seen a coach with, since Shuli Egar have I seen the bad kind of coach that you're speaking of, sir. He had to fire his assistant, Issa Lino.
For unknown reasons.
Nothing questionable about that entire situation whatsoever. Don't ever ask a question. Never say a frickin' word. It's untoured. Untoured, as Kiki would say. Of course. Indeed.
My betrothed.
So weird.
Jesus.
So weird.
You guys and your taints. Yeah, I said tainted love. We say taint. And next thing you know, everybody in the chat can't stop talking about their taints.
Yep.
You guys stink. Really?
Your taint stinks.
Tainted.
A written asylum needs to understand that the
for?
taint is meant to be, not meant to be seen. That's the bottom line.
I am actually doing jokes here. I know it's hard to catch on to some of my jokes. They don't always come up. They don't always hit hard. Yeah. You know why Quad can't feed himself? Because his arms, he can't reach the back burners on his oven.
Joey told that again today on the stream. I can't believe he fucking keeps going to that well.
Me? He did it again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Call that going back to the well. Going back to the well over
Started
and
going
over
off on Quad, and then he had to throw that joke in there.
Going back to the well where the water is always sweet. That's Joey.
No, speaking of water, the water over there in Tampa Bay definitely is tainted. I would have.
There's something up with that water. You take a look at that whole fucking family. You know there's something wrong with the water. They've got eyes where ears should be, noses in the wrong place. There's something up with the water.
Speaking of something in the water, I noticed that Granny and little Lemmy visited Andrew the Giant in his new home in Florida today.
That was pretty cool.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
that's news to me, man. All right, cool, man. Glad to hear that Andrew the Giant settled down there, doing well. He had to move all the way across the country pretty much, but he's a brother in arms or brother in chairs, whatever. However,
Granny found out he was only about 10 minutes away.
Oh,
when he finally gets into the home that he's supposed to go to in couple days, couple weeks, something like that. He's actually going to be closer to Granny still.
Jesus,
how does Granny feel about that?
Lucky Granny. Yeah.
That's like
they had a good time over there.
I think that was always like Granny's dream was just like have me in a chair, like he would have control of me, pushing me around in a wheelchair. But if there's a consolation prize, I guess it would be Andrew the Giant. That's fact.
Like just randomly looking up a child predator map and seeing red flags all around your house. Oh no!
Why? What? No, there ain't no red flags around my house. What are you talking about?
Your house flag.
Flag. Oh, geez. Why don't you just call me a homo? Why don't you?
Just call him Taint.
I won't do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I see how it goes.
Your new nickname is Taint, apparently, yes.
No, Quad is a predator. No, I'm not a predator. A great movie,
predator.
But I'm not an alien. I don't have the ability to make myself invisible. I don't have it. I don't even have like a nuclear explosive bracelet. I want one though. I'll tell you that.
He's been claiming that he's been blocked.
I let him. No, I unlocked him. I let him out. I'm feeling like Easter. It's you got to let them out of the tomb. You got to allow them back into regular society here and there just to prove that God can do miracles, man.
And so this is how he's thanking you. His Judas.
Yeah, by coming in here and calling me a predator. Yeah, exactly.
That sounds about right.
Well, maybe he's just he might be a huge Shuli fan, so he probably don't appreciate me talking shit. That's a fact, Jack. No, written asylum. Arnold Schwarzenegger has never tried to kill Quad. He can't be a predator. I mean, I've always seen myself more as a Jesse Ventura kind of guy. I mean, the fluoride's turning the water's turning the frogs gay. Like that kind of a deal.
Turning into retards.
The water in Tampa Bay is making all these wild sons of bitches dumb.
Yeah.
Starting with Joey C and Chad Zumach, of course.
Wait till that Eric the Giant.
Lou
What's his name?
the God's in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fluoride's supposed to make your teeth stronger. I'm here to tell you it's making goddamn teeth fall out. Look at that Lou the monster. Guy's 664 pounds and he can't keep a tooth in his head.
Bare minimum. What are you talking about? All his teeth look fine. I don't get it. What are you talking about?
That's a good point.
Oh, wait.
He's just got a gap in his teeth like me.
That's where you kick the that's where you kick the football through.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Yeah, it's his tonsils screaming to jump out. That's a fact. Indeed. So you got doxxed. Kahuna got doxxed by the weird water fellers over there at the Catalano TV.
3 fucking times in one show.
Smoking that there. Now, what's that stuff called? That methamphetamines?
Methamphetamines.
Goddamn, sorry.
No, don't you mother SOB. Jesse the half body Ventura. Fuck you, Connor. How dare you? You and that horseshoe run.
It's a good hack though, Quad.
You guys are harsh on a Monday. God, you guys, I thought you guys would be all much nicer the day after Easter, but apparently that's not the case, folks.
Boy, we gotta get a decal on the back of your chair that says that.
The Pope dies and nobody even blinks. It's like just
that's
the same as it was yesterday. Holy crap.
Yeah, I mean, I have had bumper stickers on the back of my chair before, so it's nothing new.
If you could read this, the bitch fell off.
Yeah, if you could read this, you're too damn close to my damn wheelchair. Get away from me. Indeed. Yeah, so Joey C, he was on MLC on Saturday night, man. That was quite a wild little. So apparently Honk, me, you, Yingwei, Triple G, all of us, we were talking a little spanky on Saturday night. I mean, we'll be honest here. We did talk a lot of shit on that Joey C, on his name, as he might say. But yeah, we really touched a nerve with that fellow because he stayed up till like 2 a.m. to go live, and that's when he started. I think it was very, very late.
How do you know it was me? I had my face flashed out with
yeah, well, you were hidden, and I wouldn't call that cam out.
I haven't even watched that yet, but apparently it was some fucking gold.
Oh,
it was just I don't know if anything Joey has ever done could be considered gold.
It's fool's gold is what it is.
Silver.
No. It smelled like
there's other people that live in that building where he lives. How the fuck does anybody sleep?
Yeah, can you imagine him going off at 3 o'clock?
I just don't get it. He's the most inconsiderate fuck I've ever known.
I mean, if you grow up in a wild environment, you might just think like they get used to it. So, like what we think of silence as the way you need to fall asleep. That who knows, some of these other folks in these other places, neighborhoods, etc. Maybe they have to have some noise going on to sleep, like violence, gunfire, ambulances, fire truck. You know what I mean? Like all the emergency services going off.
They consider Joey white noise.
Yeah, daughter's knife fucking hitting the skin. I bet you that's a
hitting the bone. Jeez. Yeah.
Damn, oh my God, that was
like, let alone sound like. Yeah, no doubt.
People call it white trash. It's white noise.
Is that what resonance is? Is that what resonance?
It's something like
travels up the bone right into your brain, and you can hear that knife really good.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like a vibration. Yeah, low pitch.
But yeah, so he made a lot of trouble today. I'm going to go back and watch that now that I've heard all the doxing rumors, so I can hear Kahuna's actual name and write it all down so I can start doxing him too. I too want to.
It's all right there.
I thought your real name was
want to dox you. But yeah, so he was screaming and yelling on Saturday night and then realized that he had the link to go on MLC. So it was somewhat interesting, I thought.
Why would they send him a link?
I don't get it. Well, whatever. I mean, a lot of people consider him entertaining, even if he's just a POS. He still entertains, screams, yells. I mean, there is some entertainment to that, right?
I could
Just
see Kevin Brennan
freaking out.
sitting back and just watching that freak show go off.
We can watch some of it
Yeah.
later this evening. Maybe that's how we'll end the show, is just watching some of that MLC from over the weekend. But yeah, dude, he was going off, and MLC was stream sniping him, and he sent him the link, and then when he came on, he was just like, "Dude, what's the matter? Just calm down. You need to calm down. You're gonna have a heart attack," and all that stuff. And of course, they talked a little bit of shit about me and some doxing, minimal doxing, so that was all right. Kevin Brennan just kind of shut him up. Yeah, he was trying to say my stuff, but I don't care. They're always saying I jumped out of a tree because my wife was fucking a black guy. That's actually funny. I don't care what you say. That is kind of a funny joke. I don't care. Yeah, I saw my wife was doing a black dude, and I was like, man, I'm just gonna crawl up in this tree and
That's it.
break.
That's it. I'm just gonna jump out of a tree.
I mean, that makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
I think the story, though. Funny when he was saying, "Yeah, there was no water in that pool." What the fuck? How dumb is he been?
I'm the dumbest.
No, you had water. You had water in the pool, though.
Yeah,
he just didn't make it to the pool, right?
No, I made it to the pool. I hit the bottom of the with the bottom, it's really hard underneath the water. Believe it or not. Yeah, it's really hard down there on the bottom. It's weird.
You know, I've done that before too. I've done that before at a hotel. Fucking knocked me out. But
if I found out my wife was banging a black dude, the first thing I would do would be to climb up a tree and jump into a pool.
Yeah, that's your first thought.
I think
your pool would be empty anyway. Your pool would be empty though.
I don't ever put water in my pool. It's there for decoration only. So I would get up in a tree and I would go into that pool.
According to Joey, Quads is empty too. He's got a shirt that says Quads Pool Service.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he thinks it's empty.
I don't consider my pool empty. I consider it half full. Right. You know, you got to have a positive look at life.
Right. It's all just a matter of how you look at life.
Malware is correct. I do believe Malware is the one that came up with that and put it in a super chat. And he gave Kevin Brennan the idea, and boy oh boy have they run with that one. So it literally was a Deadpool slam free poetry. literally, sir, Deadpool.
So that's the difference between Quad and Joey, though. See, Quad's pool is half full. Joey's pool is half empty. It's a whole attitude thing, and it always will be.
Exactly.
Joey's got a
this
pool.
Guy gets it.
Wait a minute.
No, well, it's also a delusional thing, but
have 5-gallon bucket he pisses in on the back porch.
Well, we know for a fact if Joey did have a pool, he wouldn't be able to afford the water to fill the damn thing up.
Right. There's a dumpster and a tarp.
Well, you know what? Have you ever seen Joey try to drink water out of a bottle? Could you imagine around the pool?
As a matter of fact, I think we've seen that here on this show on more than one occasion.
Oh, really? It was here.
Yeah.
Coincidence? No.
Wrong one. Give me a second. No.
There's where Joey tries to drink water out of April's ass. There it is, right there.
That's right, folks. Look at
the video where Mrs. C has got to go and take on the black gang across the street.
Yes.
Well, I mean, there's 5 of those stories, but yes, it is one of them. It's one of those 5 stories where Mrs. C had to go get in a fight with someone because Joey C's too busy doing something else, like sucking on water bottles, for example.
A fight. It's the only fight where she made $500. So
that dude is so gay. Everything he does is gay.
Okay.
Indeed. Coach Weekly, $2. Thank you, sir. Sup quad, sup honky. Carry on. Hashtag doxing bad. Wow, that's what it takes, sir. You really have Yeah, well, you got our back, Coach Weekly, and I'm kind of surprised, honestly. I thought you had issues with us, brother. Apparently not. So you do understand comedy. I appreciate that. Anybody that can take a ribbon and keep on ticking, I do appreciate it. So good on you, Honk, for understanding this is all just fun and games. We're killing it, having some fun out here, man.
Kicking it.
Correct.
Hell yes. All right. Well, I got a little sidetracked there for just about 0.1 seconds because indeed we do have a guest that showed up backstage, an unannounced guest, I might add. But yeah, welcome to the stage, everybody. Adam Busch. How you doing, sir?
Good evening, gentlemen. Quad, it's good to see you. It's good to meet the rest of you.
Absolutely. So anyway, I asked Adam to come on recently, and he's obliging tonight. I'm doing this a little bit on short notice, but I guess it was my idea to have you on Monday. But
and I appreciate you inviting me. There's no need to prep. We can just talk.
Awesome. I appreciate that, man. There's a lot going on tonight. We were going to talk a lot about the steel toe stuff. I do have some other things to talk about, maybe some Karl topics, etc. But also over the weekend, there was some fun news with Anthony Cumia and his America Strikes Back, his tour. It was like attacked by Antifa. You're out there in Los Angeles, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They tried to do that gig out there on Saturday night. Believe it or not, they had like Antifa show up. So we'll start with that topic. We'll get into that here in a minute. But yeah, I think most people know who you are because you've been on WAT, the biggest show in the Dabbleverse. So I think most people have at least seen you on screen around here. But yeah, Adam Busch, actor. And I'm sure lots of other stuff that I'm not aware of. So you produce music? I was just trying to read up on your IMDb. Is it music or just what's the album that you're helping produce right now?
I produce records and I play in different bands. And I have a record out now of 9 Inch Nails songs by Ali Gertz called Peel Back, and another record coming out by an artist named Jamie Levine. But I think if anybody here knows me, it's from my being active in the Dabbleverse and having a lot of opinions on the things that go on and being active in the chat and on the subreddits and just for whatever fucking reason having a lot of strong opinions about the stupid stuff that goes on here. And I find something really special about taking this stuff very, very seriously. I find that very funny to just go over the minutia of this bullshit. There's just something funny about that to me.
Well, and plus, hey, man, your time on Buffy this Vampire Slayer, that's pretty huge, ain't it?
That was fun, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Honky, you just came off like Chris Farley and
with Paul Lennon.
Paul McCartney with Paul McCartney
with
on
Paul Lennon.
The fuck was Paul Lennon?
I love Buffy.
He's Paul McCartney's lesser known brother that came out of the dryer, the linen.
Have you seen Paul McCartney's son James plays music?
No,
I have not.
Out. It'll make you feel really sad. It's just something sad about what he's doing. I mean, he's perfectly fine. He sounds very pretty. He sounds like his dad, but he just isn't. And
it must be was Downsy, though, I think.
What's that?
If he was Downsy.
Oh, is that
Downsy.
true?
No, George Harrison's son did pretty good stuff. He wasn't a bad musician. I don't know if he's putting anything out now.
Who is that?
George Harrison's son.
Oh, Danny Harrison's amazing, and Lucas Nelson, Willie's kid's amazing. There's lots of.
I
don't even mind Jacob Dylan.
Oh yeah, Jacob Dylan's. I liked him. He just didn't have much of a shelf life, but yeah, I mean, I enjoy his music to this day.
He has a good country record.
Ozone, you were on Buffy? That's cool.
That was awesome.
That was awesome.
That's totally cool. Shit.
Thanks for that. That's fucking hilarious. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your time
Quote
tonight,
me
Adam.
on
We do
that.
appreciate that.
Just-
But yeah, Nine Inch Nails. Hell, I seen them a couple years ago. Is that like a new lead singer they have? Trent Reznor not involved, or what's going on there?
No, it's a collection of covers by an artist named Ali Gertz doing the songs with a string
Only Nine
section.
Inch Nails songs.
Is she
Mhm.
related to Jamie Gertz at all?
I don't know. Who's Jamie Gertz?
She was in a bunch of stupid movies in the 90s.
I don't know. I don't think so. But there's a Nerf Herder song about her called Ali Gertz, and she has a Simpsons podcast that's really popular. And you can see her in Arrested Development. She won a contest for a song she wrote about one of the characters called Maybe One Day and appeared on the show. And she's a very good songwriter and a really beautiful voice, and it's a really nice record. And I spend a lot of my time doing that.
Awesome. And yeah, now you hang out with the Isotope guys. So see, there's another Simpsons full circle, as they say, coming around full circle. Indeed. Yeah. All right. I guess we could just get right into it as far as the politics go, which is kind of weird. And I had this prepped anyway, so it wasn't like I wasn't going to talk about it if you weren't here. But Anthony Cumia's politics, etc. Apparently, he didn't actually show up to this one, but let's just go ahead and play the clip as G-Rob is always yelling at me from the chat. Let's get into it. So this was the scene in the Ha Ha Comedy Club. Have you ever been to the Ha Ha Comedy Club, Adam?
No, where is that?
I would have to look up the address. I wasn't even aware because they moved the venue like last minute because the other venue canceled on them because of some threats and whatnot. Which obviously is something that Anthony and Gavin McGinnis constantly deal with. Not everybody's happy with the way of thinking.
Jesus Christ, that dude looks like the one fellow from Penn and Teller.
I was
That
thinking the
big
same
guy.
thing. Yeah, he looks
If
like
he ate it.
Gillette.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Gillette, yeah.
The best a man can get.
Yeah, you gotta love Antifa.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wait, which ones are Antifa? Is that the guys with the boat horns or the other guys inside the comedy club?
Seriously, I don't think you had to ask, but yeah, the bullhorn guys. Of course, they're a nuisance.
Well, you know, you
The
never
people
know.
with masks on covering their faces, yeah, that's usually the ones that are Antifa. Yes,
I've been to the Funny
here's-
Bone a couple times, and the comedians could have really used a boat horn. I'm just saying.
just saying. Yeah. Also, Dave Sarah. I know everybody around the Dabbleverse kind of knows of Dave Sarah, but apparently he did go there and record the sets, recorded some of the stuff, and hung out with the guys. So I did get the full rundown. If he has some free time later on, he might actually pop on. Yeah, he went and had fun with the boys. That's right. So anyway, he said that there was just a few of them there and whatnot. And then he said, indeed, the out of nowhere, the Vagos Motorcycle Club showed up to do some security. This guy doesn't look so tough, but apparently he's a Vago. The crazy motorcycle gang.
The
But
most
yeah,
interesting
Proud
man in
Boys,
the world.
etc.
Oh, and the Burger King
Indeed.
was there.
I love the double birds, but he said just 2 Vagos showed up and pretty much Antifa scattered. So, yeah, Adam, have you dealt with or seen or have had any experiences like being caught in the middle of any of this type stuff? Being in LA,
Occupy,
not that it's common, but
I mean, I've found that in, I guess, in pockets where people tend to believe one thing politically, when someone with different political beliefs show up, there tends to be support because all those people have been waiting for it, you know, and they're happy to support it. So I think when that happens, it's fine. And when the opposite happens, it's fine. You have strong opinions. It's going to garner you a big audience and big opinions. And I think most of this Dabbleverse is based on people not understanding that concept and thinking that they can only receive praise and any kind of criticism is just unacceptable. And I think these people accept it. They know what's going to happen, and they probably know how to thrive on it and turn it into a positive.
Yeah. Yeah, there does seem to be a lot of thin-skinned people that cannot take any criticism in the Dabbleverse. That's a fact. I mean, I could go down the list of people I think are the most heinous of that group. It'd be like Chad Zumach or Joey C. People that, you say something negative about them, and the next thing you know, you got a 3-hour-long rant screaming and yelling about you're a loser and that you need to go away, etc.
Yeah, even this morning, Chad was going on about Opie, and I was like, man, he's right on. And then he was going on about Rob Saul, and I was like, well, I agree with everything he's saying. This is right on. And then as soon as it turns to him, nothing's funny anymore, and everything is just like he's been attacked, and I don't understand why it only works in one direction. It's very funny.
That's right. All these guys are losers. They don't have lives. What are they talking about? I've never doxed anyone in my life. Yeah,
they were right on for a minute.
There's been a lot of talk about doxing lately. We're going to get into some of that stuff. I do find it interesting what's been going on with the doxing stuff, especially with the new Karl story. But I also found a thing about Melton on Reddit. And there's some other stuff we can talk about too. Actually, Anthony Cumia did not go to this one, and they did advertise him for going. I don't know if that was part of the problem. I'm assuming that it's just always the issue with the Proud Boys. Gavin McInnes is probably the bigger problem, but Anthony being tied to that does not help the case whatsoever. I did really want to get Dave on, so if he's capable here at some point in the show. I was gonna say Sam Tripoli was there. I was actually kind of surprised. I know he's somewhat of a libertarian. Dave's actually friends with Sam Tripoli, which is interesting. He's got quite a few good friends out there in the comedy scene. But yeah, I would be surprised to see someone like Sam Tripoli hanging out with Gavin McInnes and Anthony Cumia. He's full on free speech. I assume that's why he would do that in the first place. But yeah, you never know who mixes to make a good comedy show. I do like whatever. I'm a huge fan of Anthony Cumia. I don't know if you are specifically, Adam. Are you? Have you been a big fan of O&A in the past, or was that something you were interested in? Are you a Howard Stern guy?
I was a Howard Stern guy, and I got into Opie and Anthony later. I worked with Patrice O'Neill for a while, and he turned me on to Opie and Anthony and what was happening there, and I loved him and what he did so much that I, devoured all that stuff and really went back and listened later and followed the whole chronology and story. And now it's just so exciting that there's something current going on with both of them to follow. That makes me feel so connected, and to see, it's like the story hasn't ended. It's still happening every day, every Sunday, every Monday. They're all streaming their shows and talking to each other in code. And I like Anthony on all of these shows, and I find him to be very funny and very interesting and just very good at broadcasting. He's everything I'm not. He knows how to be brief. He knows how to shut the fuck up. He knows how to listen, and it's just really wonderful. I disagree with so many things politically, personally, and there's just such a difference of an outlook on life. But we're both from the same place, and we both were obsessed with Howard, and we both talked our way onto the Howard Stern show and then made careers in entertainment by force. And I can't help but relate to somebody like that the same way I relate to Stuttering John.
Yeah. That's you said a lot there, but so you grew up on the Long Island. No, it's fine. Long Island, is that where
Correct.
Anthony's from?
Well,
Okay,
I grew up,
so
yeah.
you're a New York guy, but now you're out on the West Coast.
A town or two over from Massapequa, where Stuttering John is from.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Could you
interesting.
smell them from there?
I do.
Only if the breeze.
I agree with what you're saying. Like in hindsight, to go back and watch, especially like someone like Patrice O'Neill, Patrice and Anthony going back and forth about politics back in the day. They definitely had a lot of disagreements, but they had a lot of really good conversations. Those are, I think, like looking back on that entire situation, that those conversations are the conversations that should always be being had. In that way, like everybody's opinion's valid. You can have your own damn opinions, and Patrice understood that, and I always appreciated that part of it. Plus, he's funny as hell. So, what did you get to work with Patrice on? Like, what project?
We did a series for Fox called The Jury, and it was about a courtroom show. And I was the jury foreman, and he was the bailiff, and we were kind of this team together on this Barry Levinson, Tom Fontana show. It was a lot of people that worked on The Wire, and I remember being at a party for this show, some Fox event, and Patrice and I were there, and Bill O'Reilly was there, and we both had our views politically about what it meant to have Bill O'Reilly there. And I remember Tom Fontana talking to us and being like, "Do you understand that Bill O'Reilly being here is the only news that's going to make this event at this time? That's the only thing people care about. And he's here, and he's supporting, and he's my friend, and everyone can put politics aside for a second and just try and get something done." And he looked at me as if, like, how dare you question my political beliefs and what I'm doing out there? And I felt like it was very similar to when Stuttering John talked to that actor outside of the Capitol Grill in D.C., and he asked some Democrat what he was doing in a Republican restaurant. And the guy looked at John like, "Are you a fucking idiot? Like, how do you expect me to get anything done if I can't talk to people?" And I feel like that's what Tom Fontana was trying to say to Patrice and I, and that's what Anthony is doing here and what I'm doing in all of these places.
Yeah. Was this before or after O'Reilly got canned from Fox?
Oh, this was way before. This was when he was, at the top of his game and really good, like a really powerful broadcaster where he, made a lot of news and had a lot of weight.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Patrice was the levity of The Jury. I don't remember this show, The Jury, but I'll have to go check it out.
It did not do well at all. It was not popular.
All right, maybe that's why.
But, I mean, you can find it. I'm sure it's out there. And it was a serious show. It had a lot of serious actors, but he and I were supposed to be the kind of lighter part of this sad world.
The comic relief.
A little bit, yeah. And he's good at everything. He didn't consider himself an actor, but I thought he was brilliant. He just had that way.
I miss Patrice. He was cool. Everything he did was gold.
If we got one more season, because he would always ask me to go with him to this brothel in Brazil that he would like live at for 3 months of the year, and the women would send him videos on his little phone, and before an iPhone, they would just send him videos, and he'd pick it up, and it'd be them, moaning to him in Spanish, and he'd let us all hear it, and he kept asking me to go. I gotta go. I said, I didn't have the money at the time, even though I was on this gig, but I was like, if we get a season 2, I can afford it. I'll go with you to Brazil. And then we never got a season 2, and I never got to go to the brothel with Patrice, and I always regretted it.
Well, that makes me want to ask you a bunch of questions, but I guess I won't probably go there specifically. That's you would go there just to hang out, or what's I don't know, that kind of boggles my mind to think of you going down to hang out in a Brazil brothel. Honestly,
why is that?
It's like a high class 5-star resort in Brazil. I'm just trying to picture what this looks like.
I have no idea. I have no idea. Yeah, I want to find out.
Okay, fair enough.
But he would live there for months at a time.
Curiosity.
I mean, I'm going there for any reason you can imagine. What's bad about that? I mean, what about that invitation from that man? There's no negative to it, but I know he would live there for months out of the year, and it was. I'm sure it was amazing.
I can imagine it's coke and whores in tropical weather. So yeah,
that's
I guess
not the love.
Yeah,
you probably never would have came back.
You start off as Geraldo Rivera, you leave as Eric the actor. What's not? It is what it is. It's
well. even my dad married his second wife was from Venezuela. So yeah, I went down to Venezuela. It's I don't know, it's wild to go down to those countries, and this was back in the 90s, so I can only imagine what it's like in the last 10, 15 years. It's crazy. I mean, I saw like multiple vehicles on fire, a lot of people, every checkpoint you go to, there's many cops standing around with M16s, and they don't play around. Like it is kind of just it's overwhelming to be in those kind of countries, but whatever. If you go to these resorts, I'm sure it's a lot of fun. Back to Patrice. What do you think about Anthony being shut out of the Patrice benefit? I'm sure you've heard all those stories.
No, I don't know. Tell me.
Him being uninvited to any of the Patrice events that they've done. Of course, Bill Burr is always at them. Maybe that's one of the main reasons. Who runs these events?
Who throws them?
I forget the guy's name, but yeah, it's definitely, it was like Patrice's cousin or something like that, but it's always like the Comedy Cellar. I think that Anthony tried to make an appearance at the most recent one or last year's event, and he got the boot, literally, like got drug out the door by what's his name, Club Soda Kenny, who's now Bill Burr's bodyguard, I do believe. Okay. So he pretty much was just automatically removed from the premises, which is I'm surprised you haven't heard these stories, because I know he's gone to other ones in the past, and they were just like, hey man, you can't be here, you're not welcome here.
Yeah, I've heard that Bill Burr is kind of, doesn't want to be around him or is offended, and I mean, I understand why. I don't think he can be surprised. I don't think he's like, where is this coming from, and over what? Yeah. I think it's pretty clear. And
what changed?
When you draw hard lines like that, I don't think. I don't know if it's what Patrice would want. Nobody could say. I can't say that. Maybe his family does. Maybe they don't. But that's gonna happen. Absolutely.
Yeah. So as far as just, are you speaking of Bill Burr having a black wife in the politics, etc.?
Anybody feeling like they don't agree and want to communicate that however possible. And I think what's great is that it doesn't take away Anthony's ability to broadcast or reach an audience. Like nothing can stop that anymore. But people are allowed to voice their opinions, and people are allowed to change their mind about a person. And people are allowed to change. I mean, I'm looking at Anthony respectfully and jokingly speak to Jim about his wife. And even that conversation is more than I mean, just the fact that happened, and that everybody is so just excited that they're together that they're willing to look past anything to just get to that thing they love. And that's what we're trying to do here. Just get to that thing that we like, and understand that sometimes for greatness, you got to deal with stuff that you don't enjoy, and that's okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, because obviously Anthony would absolutely call Nicky Norton a F-slur on his show every day, all day, but then in a joking manner go on the show and have a good time. So like both things can be true at the same time. And I know that they've all gone out to dinner before as like the two couples, Missy and Anthony going out with Jimmy and Nikki. So like, yeah, putting your crap aside and just being friends and doing your thing, living life like a normal human being. Yeah. Absolutely.
Just trying. We tried the other thing and it didn't work. So let's just try something different. And if there's talent to be admired and skill to be learned from, and an equal willingness on the other side to just enjoy the things we love, why the fuck not?
Everybody get together, learn to love one another right now.
That's right. Yeah, Bill Burr's politics. I'm sure you guys have covered on WATP quite a bit. I'm sure Bill Burr and his antics this year with like supporting Luigi Mangione, or some of his hotter takes that he's had this year. What do you find? Do you find anything shocking about how he's been with politics and whatnot now, considering back on the O&A days, maybe it wasn't even close to where he's at now politically? Or do you see it otherwise?
I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing to change your mind in any direction. I've certainly moved more conservative as I've gotten older, and I don't think that's a negative, and I don't think anybody moving in any direction is I think having a hard line and not changing ever based on a doctrine that was written before you were born is not necessarily going to help move things forward. And adapting and changing in any direction, there's nothing wrong with that. What would be the problem with that?
No, not that it's a problem, just that it does seem. I would say that he's probably taken maybe up some of the politics of Hollywood to get the jobs. Maybe his wife because she's black, and or like Anthony being extreme racist, etc. And just taking up other people's politics, not necessarily his own. And maybe just to get along, to get jobs or whatever. It seems like he's making financial decisions on some of this stuff, in my opinion.
I mean, has being a liberal progressive helped John Melendez get acting work?
No.
Being a drunk has probably not helped.
But he's
Yeah.
True.
I think you're definitely living.
He's got a reputation that precedes him.
Okay, it's possible. But LA is definitely a city where people mostly feel one way, and you can certainly be influenced by just living among people that feel a certain way, and you can certainly be fooled into thinking that the rest of the world feels the way that everyone around you does, because in your mind you're like, everyone feels this way. But I don't. Other than that, I don't see and haven't seen like a push being any political belief helping you in any way, except that maybe because the Republican and conservative pocket is so small and vocal in Hollywood, that being a part of that could possibly help you just because it's a more niche group. There's really no like pressure, like it doesn't come up. People don't want to talk about politics or religion or gender or any of that shit. Everyone just wants to stay the fuck away from it and do their job. And I think especially now there's even more of a willingness to just see another side than there was in the past.
Right.
Does that make any sense?
I see that from
I just don't think Bill Burr would do it to get
guys like you, but I don't necessarily believe that's the case at all with Bill Burr. I 100% believe that he's bought into other people's politics to benefit himself. Whatever. If he's wishy-washy, then that's on him. That's his own. If he has no core, then that's his own damn deal. But whatever. I have a feeling that the Disney gig is like the Mandalorian gig that he got is probably the number one thing that's guiding his politics at this point. That's just how I feel. But yeah, Kaylee says Adam's ability to be reasonable and rational is unmatched. And yeah, we love Lucy Typebox. Absolutely. She's been on here a few times. She's a good gal. She's a good one, as they say. She's a good egg. Yeah, she's a good egg.
She was very good on Point Dabble Point today.
Yes, absolutely. She's good on there every time. She's 100% batting average or whatever, hitting 1,000. She's awesome. Yeah, I kind of lost my thought a little bit there, but
No,
yeah,
I mean-
I do think the Mandalorian Disney Channel, I do feel like that pushes you in that direction quite a bit more than other platforms do. I don't know.
I've
if
worked
you
for
agree with
Disney. I've worked for lots of different companies. I never was told anything. I was never given anything. I was never instructed to do anything. I worked at Nickelodeon my entire childhood. And I mean, there wasn't social media back then, but there was no media training. There was nobody telling me to. I wish there was, because I did a lot of fucked up shit that, I wished I hadn't. But I don't see it, and maybe I'm blind to it, or maybe I'm missing it. But Bill Burr's opinions on things have evolved over time and continue to. It's not out of the question, and you can't blame him if it moves in one direction.
Right. Yeah, and that is another reason. One of the reasons we had you on too. I did see that clip. Jacob Ryan S sent you a super chat. You were like, yeah, I'd go on BYB, and Karl was like, yeah, really? Like, you're like, yeah, I'll talk to anyone that has talked to Stuttering John in the past, etc. And he was like, okay. And I have heard you say that otherwise, that you don't really have an issue with talking to anybody on any side of any aisle. So that's good. Did you skip over the Nickelodeon part where they were doing feet pics and the whatever? I don't even like saying the pedo stuff, but the Shuli network type stuff going on
much
over
better.
there.
Yeah, that's much better.
Yeah, I smoothed it over with that.
I would go to school in Orlando under, at the Nickelodeon studios at Universal, and we were stage 19, and Dan Snyder and all that were stage 20, and over the entire studio was a giant foot. It was just an outline of a foot, and it said Nickelodeon. And every day, and it never once, I mean, I was a kid, it never occurred to me that someone was sexualizing that. Like, I didn't know that was an option. I really thought it was like random, like elbow, earlobe, booger, whatever. Like, I thought it was just, splat. I didn't know there was a
splat, right?
Yeah. A darker meaning to it, which there very much was. And I can tell you that people spoke out at the time and they were ignored. And not only were they ignored, but I'm sure I didn't believe them, because how could I?
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, what is a foot? Yeah, a foot. That just popped in my mind. Does the slime have any connotation? Because, Jesus, I mean, slime and kids. We just sliming all over the kids. I don't even like saying that sentence now that I have said it twice.
A young Alanis Morissette.
Flip it back, you fat cunt.
That's right. Damn. That whole thing is just so freaking creepy looking back on it.
Once something like that comes out of the gate, you start looking back and everything.
Oh, I've seen all the tweets where they really had like Ariana Grande and the blonde girl that was on the show that they did together, and what's the other one? iCarly, like just constantly showing their feet. There's like threads of just how many times that they made them pull their feet out. Maybe they just had them walking around out of shoes all day, every day, and that's probably part of the deal. I would have a feeling.
But it was that guy, Dan Snyder. It was him and that thing. I remember there was a table read, and we were reading the script, and it said my character went to the pool, like something about in a bathing suit or something, and I just said, I don't know why at the table read, I was like, I'll be wearing a shirt, and that was it. They let me wear a shirt. Nobody ever asked to see anything. Like, it was just, nobody cared. They were like, whatever. It wasn't about that, but I think what Dan Snyder was doing was a little different.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Hilarious, right?
That's fun.
It cuts so close to like all that stuff. It's hard to talk about subjects like that, and it's definitely hard to make jokes about it. I love throwing that stuff at the Shuli network just because it's whatever. There's a good reason to it. Whatever.
What's the good reason?
Not that we would. Just to make it a little bit more lighthearted, the fact that happened here in the Dabbleverse and whatever.
You just said you hate hearing it, and you hate it coming up, and you hate it even being mentioned. So why would you bring it up in any context?
Yes. Well, I mean, in reality, the only situation we've had like that is on the Shuli network. So throwing it at him when I do think, I'll just flat out ask you, do you think that Shuli knew more than he's letting on now? I know you work with him a lot, so it's probably a shitty question, but I'm going to throw it at you. We do the hard hitting questions over here, BYB, as you probably don't know. But yeah, what do you think? Do you think Shuli comes off genuine when he tells about not knowing anything about the ISO situation, believing what ISO told him about the situation when he was arrested the day after DabbleCon?
I don't think he knew about anything in advance, and I think he came forward with information as soon as he had it. I don't think you can say, as someone who's worked with monsters, you can say that I knew in advance. I could tell from the look at him. Sometimes you do, right? Sometimes you get an eerie feeling from a stranger. Sometimes dogs know. And other times it's the exact opposite. And no one gets to say that it's going to be one way. And if it happened in my world, I would come out with it as soon as possible, get rid of the person, acknowledge it, own it, and then try and move on from it. And that's, to an extent, what Shuli did. I didn't like when it kept coming up. I didn't like it being used as a weapon. I didn't like bad jokes about it. I don't mind good jokes about it, but who's the arbiter of that, right? Yeah.
For sure.
Outside of that, what is he supposed to do? Like, what is he supposed to do?
Yeah, and mainly it was just the timing of everything after the.
There are plenty of reasons that are real and genuine to not like Shuli Agar. It doesn't have to be that. And if you don't like hearing that and bringing it up, then I wouldn't.
No, I mean, I always like to see if I can get to. I asked Bob Levy the same questions.
It's a fair question, and I like that you ask it. It's important. It's important. You know?
Yeah,
and
no, I really have an issue with people in pedophilia, etc. I think most people do. Obviously, it's a pretty sensitive subject, but yeah, like seeing Bob Levy come out now and like questioning that in hindsight. But in hindsight, we're also looking at Dan Snyder and the Nickelodeon. Like we're looking at all the same stuff backwards because that's all we got. Whatever. I do have my issues with Shuli,
and those are valid and they're totally fine. But like. These people like Iso, you know, it really does fuck with everyone. And now all of these people that had nothing to do with that have to like answer to this. I have to answer to this because of something some guy I've never met or worked with has done. And now I'm obligated to speak on it. And I don't mind doing it. But we have to understand this shit affects everyone. It doesn't just affect the people in those pictures or his wife or his family. It goes so far because now we got to talk about this and deal with this when we're supposed to be talking shit about other people.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, I get that, man. I guess that it does seem like every time someone leaves a podcast or goes and does something else, like they have to bash the old podcast on their way out. Or I don't know if that's what Levy's doing. I can only assume that there was some reality to what he had to say.
I don't know what Levy's doing. What is he doing over there? What's happening over there?
He hasn't actually talked a lot of shit about that stuff for a while, but there was a period of time there when he was going full tilt against Shuli in that whole situation. So he's backed off a little bit since he's been back from Turkey. I haven't heard him bring up Shuli at all, pretty much. So maybe he's just moved on with that entire situation. I would say the only thing I had an issue with was the crying video, taking it down. Not showing the
What's
proof.
the crying video?
When he came out and had to explain that that whole situation happened and Shuli cried on screen, and then he almost within just moments took that video down. He also raised money, super chats that he was going to send to some organization that dealt with the sensitive subject of the victims of pedophilia. None of us ever saw proof of that. I don't know that we have the right to see proof of that, but whatever. We just had to take his word for it. And I hate that kind of crap. I hate when Aaron Imholte does it. I hate when Shuli does it.
We don't like it when John says he's going to send money via super chat, via PayPal. Like we like when our charities are transparent. I don't think that's a lot to ask.
Exactly. I felt like he played up the crying video. I guess that was the other issue I had. It didn't seem as sincere as I would have liked it.
It seemed performative.
It did. It seemed very performative in my opinion. So,
in Shuli's defense, I think that those guys were professionally very close. You know, they worked together.
Definitely.
And if Shuli didn't know about it, I mean, that would have hit him hard.
I'm sure it did. I mean, I'm sure it did. I'm sure it's really confusing. I mean, it hit all of us. I remember telling him on one of these shows that if his boy Iso went on to do great things and became a cast member on Saturday Night Live, he'd be there saying, "That's my boy. Look at what we did." So if something bad happens, he's just as responsible to take ownership of it. And outside of those things, whether they seem sincere or not, I don't know what else a human being could do.
Fair enough, man. Yeah, and it's not like we've gone back and forth on pretty much any subject that's come up so far tonight.
I love it.
I mean, we've gone back and forth with plenty of people on screen here, so it's been said before. I'll leave it at that.
It's what I said to you when we were talking, is that I really appreciated your open mind, and I watched you on this show start with an opinion about something, and then one of your boys says something, and you're like, oh, that's a good point. Let me think about it that way. I think that's awesome, and we need more of that. We don't get enough of it.
Especially if people show me proof that what I'm thinking is incorrect, I'll take that to heart instantly. Like, you show me that I'm wrong and show me where and how, I'll absolutely. I think the world needs more of that. Absolutely. Before we go any further, let's go ahead and entertain. Ozone keeps sending in all these super chats, and they have pointed questions, but I think we can deal with these too. Ozone, $10. Adam, you look like a deer in the headlights when Karl doxed that fan. Let's make this a clip. Can you call out Karl for his poor behavior? We can play that video this evening as well. The Russo is
yeah, do you want to play it now, and then you can remind me, and I can make a comment?
Let me just make sure I'm getting to the right one. Okay. Just give me one moment here.
Because when it happened, I didn't catch the doxing as it happened, but I did catch that the guy was complaining about something, and if it was how the interface was working and how he was able to watch the stuff on that first day, that he had a point and that it was valid, and that a lot of people had trouble with that. And that's a totally fair response. And that I think Karl was taking it as he didn't like the tapes, which he felt was maybe disingenuous. But I don't remember the doxing, but I'd love to see it.
Okay. Yeah, we'll pull it up. I'm just trying to get myself out of the way because that's not a good look. There we go. All right, let's play.
Karl lost his mind because one guy wanted a refund because he finally found out after all these years Karl's terrible at his job.
Okay, I love this.
Right.
I hate playing clips of me, but I'm going to. Okay. Because I just like pointing out, because Aaron doesn't talk about me directly as much as he does about like you and Patrick. So I finally get my time in the sun here.
He never forgets your name. For me, I'm tangential. So like he will pretend to forget my name sometimes. And other times when he's not thinking about trying to take a dig, he'll be like, oh yeah, Moody. Like,
oh, whoops. I mean, guy in the Discord. Yeah, right.
Okay, actually, no, I did have it queued up to the right one on the last one. So let's go ahead and play this, because this is the actual dispute that's in question. And then later on in this show, you brought up something from the weekly Dabble review. We'll get into that later. That's a whatever, because you just found a goofy spot of me looking like an asshole, which I did. And I liked what you said. I was actually laughing when you said all that stuff. But yeah, this is from the actual dispute. And then we'll allow Karl to defend himself on this little piggy, which is after this. Let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah, because you're taking one for the team.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I appreciate that. I want to call out the bitch boy of the day. It's a fun new segment I'm starting up over here on WATP.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Richard Russa has put in a dispute through my merchant account services. He purchased Dabble House,
right,
and then he wants his money back. And the the reason is
because of the Simpsons thing.
Product Oh, this is a bitch move. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
We had I won't say the number, but we had a lot of people sign up for Dabble House.
Okay, so bitch boy of the day is how you start off with talking about someone having a dispute over not being happy with whatever product. Maybe they overreacted by disputing it on their credit card, which is kind of an extreme move, because anyone that's ever disputed something and had to like get a new credit card, what a pain in the ass that is. I mean, that is a weird way to go about like.
Was that the doxing when he said the full name?
Yes, you just heard it.
Yeah, that's
why it happened.
Completely
real quick.
Completely unnecessary, and a total overreaction.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree.
Yeah, And
I believe I'm sure I said that at some point because having deja vu, watching myself have the same feelings.
Yeah, we could play the entire thing.
You don't need to. I'm just saying, absolutely, a total overreaction and not necessary. I think he thought they were talking about the tapes, and when I said to him, I think he's just talking about the difficulty of that website, which was problematic, and he said, "Oh," and then he felt better. But you can't take back when you've announced somebody's name. Everybody goes out of their way to not say people's names and to really protect it when they can. Well, that's true.
I know.
That is very true.
Adam,
you ever heard of this guy named Joey C?
I just got.
Oh, does he?
Tonight.
Really? What happened?
Joey C, the douchebag. Joey C doxed me 3 times on his show tonight.
Oh, I'm sorry. What did he give away? Your name or your?
Yep.
That's not cool. Why would he do that?
Because he's a douchebag. One grade A douchebag.
Yeah, he doesn't necessarily have the constraint, the moral constraints that a lot of us seem to have. I don't think I've ever seen anyone else, maybe besides Pat Nixon, giving out any information. I don't even know that he gave out information. I think he just used it to have knowledge that he shouldn't have, but he didn't necessarily dox anyone. So I'll take that back.
Well, that was my favorite thing about my time with Stuttering John was that he kept warning me that, as soon as I entered the Dabbleverse, that these trolls out there were going to dox me. And he kept warning me. And I kept telling him, I know it's a real threat, but I feel like the threat's coming from inside this Zoom. And
the call's coming from inside the house.
Sure enough, John's the one who doxed me. He's the only one who ever did it. But he went out of his way to, multiple times and to give away like a burner phone. So it was silly. But he really wanted to, hurt someone else by releasing all the info he had on me.
What a dick.
Yeah.
So is Stuttering John the reason you're in the Dabbleverse?
Yeah.
I mean, did he brought you, was he the first podcast you came on to, or like?
No, I was a fan of during COVID, I was revisiting all the Stern stuff and the Opie and Anthony stuff, and I got into an Eric the actor just obsession. It wasn't healthy, but it was real. And I was listening to the whole story chronologically. I was listening to it to fall asleep. And when it ended, even though I knew how it was going to end, it was just heartbreaking. And somehow, the algorithm, I think for a lot of people at that moment, when if you like this, then you'll love WATP. And what's happening with Stuttering John, what's happening with Opie. And they were right. I did. And I became a big fan of all of it. And I couldn't stop listening. And I remembered that growing up in Long Island, there were a lot of musicians I played with that were in Stuttering John's band. And I was a very big Howard Stern fan. And at some point, I guess the Losers, Howard Stern's little in-house band, wanted to do Livin' La Vida Loca. And he needed a horn section. And they asked John, can you get us a horn section? And John called musicians I knew. And they called me, and I got to appear on the Howard Stern show and play saxophone with him. And it was a dream come true. I had auditioned twice to be in his movie. I was waited outside Letterman for him. And
so you're talking like the early 90s?
This was on K-Rock.
When the music thing happened?
Yeah, this was on K-Rock. This was very early.
Okay. Yeah, long moves.
Yeah, I remember I called from a payphone outside because I was so excited. And
stalker like.
I was a fan. I was a Long Island kid and a big fan. Totally stalker.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, it's true. I was. So I realized as I was becoming obsessed with this whole Dabbleverse thing and John and this whole world that I had a connection to him. And if I could appear on Eric the Actor's, what was it, the American Idol wrap-up show and didn't, I would always regret it. So I felt like I bet I can show up on John's show and I bet I can talk to him about this. And he doesn't seem to have memories that don't exist on YouTube. His only memories are the ones that there are clips of because he doesn't know anything else. And I was like, this could be a gift for him. He might like this. This is a memory of something he did that he put together that I don't think he knows about. And he really wasn't interested in hearing about that at all. He had no curiosity.
So he just blew it off. You offered and he just blew it off?
Yeah, he didn't. Oh, Oh no, he put me on the show, but then he didn't really want to talk about that. He didn't really have a lot of questions about it.
That was
wasn't
the
one
first
of his
time I saw
favorite
you was
moments.
on the show.
What's that?
Yeah, so it wasn't one of his favorite moments that he wanted to talk about. So he just, I dealt with that because I showed some of his old clips on my show when he was on with us, and some things he just was like, yeah, whatever, yeah, I did that, yeah. So Adam, can you confirm his entire high school band career / he said how much did he make? Like $5,000 for putting on a high school band event at some point. I forget. Battle of the Bands. Maybe it was like that.
I don't know anything about that. We were in different schools, different years, different ages.
Yeah, I didn't know if maybe.
I know the musicians he played with that were in that band were like the real deal. That played in a lot of other bands and were session guys. That they were really good. They knew how to play.
Interesting.
And they still do. They still are in bands and do sessions, and they were all a very talented group that, Howard Stern on Long Island during that time, who could say no to a gig like that? Like, people would just show up.
Absolutely. Yeah, we all get it. Before Howard is what he is now, and not to say like we wouldn't all bow down and do stuff for Howard at this point, even though he's jumped the shark and is what he is, but who cares? We were all, even on the West Coast, very aware of Howard Stern. I'm sure you living right there in his neck of the neighborhood, like right down the street from him. That had to be a wild time back in the everybody.
Let me ask you something.
Everyone I hang out with and talk to is East Coast, so you all seem to have like this huge reverence for Howard. That's how it is.
Well, Donald Trump has the same accent as my parents. They're teachers from Queens. Like, you hear, it's the same accent Lou Reed has. It's a very specific kind of Long Island, Queens, New York accent. It's not the Brooklyn accent. It's not the Bronx accent. It's very unique to that. But we all had the same upbringing. We all grew up. There's something about Long Island that bred a lot of entertainers and a lot of serial killers, which is similar to Orlando. Orlando has like Marilyn Manson and the Backstreet Boys. Like, it's always some extreme. And it's funny how people from Long Island don't acknowledge each other. It's just kind of the mentality of people that live next to New York City but never go. They never go. You can ride the railroad for free if you have a ticket to a show in New York City. That's how infrequently Long Islanders go to New York.
Huh. That's interesting. So you just had your own tight knit thing, and everybody just stayed in a bubble kind of deal.
I got real Jew talk real fast. It sounded real.
It's all good. It's all good.
I don't mean to be so
okay, speaking of Jew talk, we know that like Anthony, he lived out there. It was Long Island. I do believe he said he lived in a like entirely Jewish neighborhood, whatnot. It is a really nice house that he had there that he just sold and moved down to South Carolina. But back to this, Ozone, $5. Adam, before she nuked her X account, Missy B's X was endless Nazi propaganda. What do you think about Karl normalizing her by having her on so much?
How is he normalizing the behavior? Does he talk about it?
Yeah, I don't ever remember him ever bringing it up on the show. Maybe an offhanded remark here and there. I know he knew. Whatever. She hangs out with the Proud Boy groups and whatnot. But yeah, her. Nick Fuentes, the America First group, the Groypers. She's definitely a huge fan of those guys. And I don't think she actually nuked her X account, Ozone. I believe she privated it. So if you weren't like friends and she didn't follow you, you weren't passed into the next group. Because I've seen Missy B recently. Yeah, she did a Happy Easter thing yesterday. So I know she's still on X. But yeah, I guess mainly we could just stick with the normalizing. Do you feel like there are guests? Should you have Daniel Carver on now? Tom Metzger? I'm just trying to think of people that are outside of the mainstream that still can
Wally fucking George.
Okay, I don't know that name, but
I don't know.
I'll assume it's a
classic from the
hardcore
80s.
extreme. Yeah,
From the 80s. He was on Southern California. What do they call that? Access television.
Ah.
Yeah. And then he became
I wrote that. I knew that name from somewhere.
Yeah. He was big, actually. Google his ass. You'll see.
And Yingwei, I do believe you're on the wrong microphone. It sounded like you swapped to like your something happened there. You were sounding fine. Now you sound like hollow. But yeah. So anyway, I guess it's not on you to be normalizing by being on a show that has other people that have questionable political beliefs. I guess you can answer this question anyway.
Am I now accountable for? I mean, and you can tell me honestly, am I accountable for all of the Proud Boys' actions because I appeared on this show?
Yeah, there you go. Very good question.
Am I? I mean, maybe I am.
I support the hell out of the Proud Boys. I like all of those. Yeah, absolutely, man. But
so
no,
am I supporting all those political beliefs because I'm here talking to you about Stuttering John and Aaron Imholte?
Correct.
If it's okay with you.
I mean,
I would say absolutely not.
I remember appearing with Missy B on Point Dabble Point, and I thought she, and it's not very popular, but had a similar point of view to me about John and about his mental state. And I liked everything she said, and I followed her on X like I did everyone from that episode. And then I remember a week or two later seeing some kind of tweet that was like, whoa, unfollow. Don't do that. I didn't like whatever it was. I don't even remember, but it was not even a question. It was just like, whoop, nope. And then that was it. And I'll appear with her on any of these shows and talk about John, and I don't have to see her memes, and I can still respect her thoughts on the things that we agree with, and I'm not going to just shut it out because I don't like Bill O'Reilly being at the party. I'm trying to do something different.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair too. And actually, that is, I don't. What do you think about this with Stuttering John? Here's the next question. Like I was on there and I was wearing a Proud Boy hat, and people pointed it out, and we're giving Stuttering John a bad time for having a Proud Boy. I'm not actually a Proud Boy, but he got a lot of flack for that. And then come to find out, he was like, well, who's funnier, me or Anthony Cumia? And of course, I'm like, well, I'm an Anthony Cumia fan. Who do you think? And it was like, yeah, of course I think Anthony Cumia is funnier than you are. You know what I mean? It was the simplest question ever. But yeah, nobody expected. So the only problem he ever had with my politics is the day that I left his show and stopped doing it. And then all of a sudden I was a Proud Boy piece of shit, and I hope you hang out in your wheelchair prison for the rest of your life. But up to that point, he was totally fine with my politics. He brushed it aside,
And he said he never knew, which for a political pundit is super embarrassing.
No, I made him on one of his shows. You could go. I don't know where you can find any of his stuff at this point. I haven't looked. I'm sure he probably still has a Patreon. But I made him do this whole diatribe where he explained that he's totally fine with my religion, my politics, who I watch. He said all of it. I was like, okay, well, there's the message to Missy B. That's who I was telling him to talk to her specifically. And he did do that entire message. But yeah, the second I was off of his show, it was like, oh, that piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. It was pretty pathetic. But
it was. What was your end game? What were you thinking? How is that going to end? Because you clearly like doing it. So what was the thought of what's going to happen?
Just okay. So I noticed previously to everybody else, all of my friends that did his show and only did like one or two shows, and then he figured out that they were trolling him. Whereas I really tried to play the straight guy and just agree and ball wash the shit out of him the entire time. Pretty much, you can go back and see it, but there was something in every. It was.
What did you guys? I was going to ask that too. What did you gentlemen think of his stint with John?
I didn't know Quad very well. Oh, go ahead.
No, I didn't know him either, but I knew him enough that it didn't really make sense, and I just thought he'd lost his mind. And
Quad makes an outstanding second mic. top level second mic.
But it didn't seem like a good pairing. Yeah, he makes a fine second mic. It was just the pairing didn't make sense. But they were doing well.
No, it was kind of like that damn song. Remember that song from the 80s anyway? Ebony and Ivory.
Okay.
Which one of us was the black guy? Wait a minute.
Well,
Yeah, that song's about getting along. But how did it feel to see Quad you knew saying things that he didn't mean and making himself smaller
that's
to
where
appease?
I thought he lost his mind. I thought he meant it. I thought this was
did.
legit.
Okay, so there was a select group, like people I hung out with in Discord, and I would go on his show, and then I'd come off the show, and I'd go back to Discord. I'd be like, what do I do? Where do I end it? How do I do this? And they all knew, for the most part, the little things I was doing on a show day to day. Whether it was like doing stuff for Bedabbler, who was like, hey, why don't bring up Cravon Burrow, like my black son, my illegitimate son, or whatever. Or Cardiff would say, hey, do this. But whatever.
I was on Discord.
I was on there for about 3 months, and it was hard to find an out. And actually, I was just really fed up with them. So I probably did make a mistake on the way I exited the Stuttering John. I wish I would have done it different. Looking back, hindsight's 2020. But the day that happened, I was like, oh, okay, Dr. Steve. No, fuck you, dude. We're done.
That was it. It was Dr. Steve. Was that what pushed it over the...
Oh, yeah. No, that literally was the day.
Oh, yeah. That's when John was going after trying to dox.
He was going to dox him. He was going to dox him.
Yeah.
And I had sent him text messages. I was like, yeah, why Dr. Steve, dude? That guy's the nicest dude in the world. And even in just phone calls and stuff, he was he had some nasty stuff to say about him. And then I was listening to the show, and he was like, oh, I'm going to dox him this and that. And I was like, oh, I can end your show right now today. So I did. And I was like, and this gets me out of ever having to do your show anymore. So it was kind of it was multi-encompassing. And I was sick of doing his show. He asked a lot, and I didn't really want to give any effort to doing his show whatsoever. And I guess I could have just started like I said, it was Dr. Steve, so it all came to a head. But if it wouldn't have been that, then it would have been just slowly getting out of there.
How long were you sick of it for? How long were you I don't like
this? Most of it. At least half of it. Because it was hard just to sit there and ball wash like that, dude. It sucked. It sucked agreeing with anything he said that I didn't agree with, which was a lot. So,
the thing with John is
I will say,
John is so lonely. All you got to do is show him 1 ounce of what he would perceive as real. I want to say, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. But anyway, you just got to pretend to be his friend for a minute, and you're in.
He bites.
Well, you raise a good question. Did he call you a lot on the phone? Did you have to do?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What was that like?
He ran things. I mean, it wasn't with Kate Beanie, so he wasn't trying to get me into bed. That's one good.
But
thing.
Is it similar to him on the show? Is it the same guy?
A lot of the time, yeah. And he always was talking about doing the trust verification with me too. I don't know how that played out because I never caught him ever asking me a question that was you could have taken it 2 ways or given up information about him. He never said the F word or N word, you know what I mean? In regular conversation. I know other people said that he does do that. I'm not going to lie on him. But yeah,
I don't think that trust verification thing was anything
I don't
other
think
than
it was real. I don't.
No, it was an escape for him to not look stupid. Often.
Yeah, but he looked stupid every single time someone used him and abused him and threw him away. So it was nonsense. That entire thing is nonsense. Because even the most basic of people, like you said, if you showed him any if you were like, oh, hey, I was a big fan of yours, he would be like, oh, yeah, come on my podcast. It wasn't hard to get on his podcast by any means. It got harder and harder as time went on when he kept getting porn bombed the year before I came on, constantly by a bunch of people I knew who were doing it. Same thing. We would hang out in a Discord and these guys would come back and be like, ha, got him or whatever, that kind of stuff. So, they were all playing games with him, and I was like, all right, we'll see how far we can drag this thing out. I don't really have much better going on in the daytime. I can give the dude 2 hours on a Tuesday and a Thursday. It's not that much out of my day. So I don't know.
I'll never get back.
But it didn't really. If you think about it, it was probably like 15 to 20 shows, if you counted them. So 15, 20 shows, 2 hours. It was, how much of my life was that? Really? Not that much, considering.
Yeah, but the shit you took had to.
It wasn't that bad. And I will say this, what prolonged it, I would have to say, is the way that the Shuli network started talking about me and covering me. They prolonged it by quite a bit. And then I started being kind of nasty to Karl and Shuli because I would listen to their shows and I would see stuff they were saying about me. Like, it was like, all right, dude, I'll lean into this a little bit now. And maybe I'll even find myself on John's side for a bunch of this stuff. And so
that's all John wants, is someone to share his enemies with. So
exactly. So then I kind of started leaning into the anti-Shuli, anti-Karl stuff quite a bit. Well, it's
funny because we sit here and we talk, and I say a lot of shit, and at the end of it, you'll be like, I still don't agree. I feel this way. And we're like, okay, great. And we move on. And sometimes you're like, oh, you have a good point there. But that's not what was happening with John. What was happening was submission, and that's hard to see for someone so dark, someone who, clearly doesn't give a shit about you, and to watch you continue to do that over this extended period of time, I leaned into it. Toll. And when you did lean in, but when we could always tell, there was always a part of you that was winking or that was smiling, even on the Kate Meany tapes, especially the second round, you can hear her like acknowledging to the audience what's happening here. And that's so great. We always knew you didn't feel this way. We just didn't understand why. And the end game was enjoyable, but it still leaves a lot of questions. And I was glad to hear you guys answer so honestly and to share your opinion on it, because it's fascinating.
Absolutely. So, like how Rob Saul ended up on Stuttering John show, just because I was like, all right, we'll just start messing with Shuli about the buying views and buying memberships. And it was like, whatever. It was fun fan fiction. But I knew that Rob Saul knew a bunch about that stuff from working on Levy Land and actually buying views. So it wasn't like that wasn't a fiction. That was just fact.
I remember the last time I was on the Shuli show, somebody chatted in like $50 and they said like, no comment, just for you guys. And I was like, really? I said that. I looked around, everybody's like, is that real? Really? And everyone just moved on. So I don't know who can know what's going on there. I just know I love making fun of John. It makes me happy.
There you go.
It is a mirthsome way to go. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that word.
I don't either. I think I just made it up.
You brought Jesus gold mirthness?
No, that's
silliness. A little frivolity. We're having fun.
Since mirth and gold, what?
I don't know where that came from. I just
typed it into Google.
It was easier yesterday. We'll forgive you.
Thank you.
We'll assume it was a carryover from yesterday. That's good.
Could it be I don't know. I smell burnt hair. That's all I can tell you.
Ozone, $5. Adam, what do you think about Kumia taking his high school girlfriend to her prom when he was in his 50s? Thanks.
I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, I love how Ozone is only asking you the questions. That's great. That's good stuff. 3 questions from Ozone for you.
I don't know about it. It doesn't sound great. I doubt it's something that if I dug into, I'd be supportive of, but I don't know the details, and it doesn't sound good.
Yeah, I mean, if you could think back to that song, I think Winger, is it? She was only 17. You can kind of guess the rest of the song, right? How it went. He took her to prom, though. That's real. Yeah,
I went to the prom with a senior when I was a freshman, and it didn't occur to me till now that might have been a little weird.
But that made you very, very cool. It's the other way around when things start getting dicey.
Is it, though? I don't know. Or is it all cool? I don't know. I really don't know. I would have to look into that, but from what you said, no, it doesn't sound great.
Yeah, I think a good rule of thumb for teenagers is about 3 years. Yeah, that's probably about correct.
I mean, you remember when Jerry Seinfeld did that and everybody was just like, okay.
He was thinking about getting a hip replacement and she still had to put a retainer in at 9 o'clock. That was that's a bad combination.
No, it doesn't sound good.
No, it's just not. He could have gotten struck by lightning. She was conductive.
Did you steal that joking way?
No, I
okay.
Actually, for once, that just came out of what's left of my brain.
Oh, why say yes? You stole it. It'll sound
I stole
bad.
that. I stole that joke. Honk. Actually, is what happened.
Yeah, he still has a memory capable of stealing jokes. So there you go. He doesn't have dementia. We just proved it right here, right now. That just
Nothing like dementia. It's full blown Alzheimer's.
Jacob Ryan S., who's actually the guy that got you on this show for $2. Adam, how often did Pat Morita show up to work drunk?
See, that's fucked up. That is a crazy question, Jacob. You have your finger on the pulse. It wasn't till I was much older and looking back that I realized I think he might have been drunk 1 or 2 days. I remember the day the show ended. My brother was my guardian, and we were all called into work, and we didn't know why. And he like jumped on the hood of my car. It was just like, rawr. We thought it was the funniest thing. And he was very like all over the place. And they told us the show's canceled. We all got to find new jobs. And I remember thinking, oh, he must be drunk because of this news. But only looking back was I like, oh no, he didn't know that news until he got there. So he was just drunk. But he was not unable to work in any capacity. I would say the only way it manifested itself is that he loved to show up to random Benihanas and do karaoke to the delight of all the tourists. He would just stop, pull in, do a couple numbers, get back in his car. And I think he smoked a lot of pot, and I think he drank a lot, and I think he lived in Hawaii and was the hip nip and lived the greatest life ever. And people forget that he was nominated for an Oscar for The Karate Kid. He lost to Al Pacino. For a comedian, that's pretty great.
Yeah. What movie did Al Pacino win for? Son of a Woman?
I can't remember.
Or that was much later, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might be wrong about who he lost to, but he wasn't.
Mrs. Doubtfire Part 2, I believe, was.
Wow, that's news to me. Yeah, Jacob Ryan S., thank you, sir, for getting this put together. It's funny. He sent that super chat to you, and I heard that.
How did he know? I didn't know that was a thing that people knew. And I hope I'm not talking bad about him, because he was nothing but like the greatest.
No,
he really was.
What do you think? Pat Morita was just playing himself on The Karate Kid when they were doing all those drunk scenes? He was just like, oh, he's drunk. Come on, bring the cameras in. He's ready. Exactly.
But
Mr. Blue Sky.
I'll tell you one thing. Pat Morita never missed his mark. God damn it. Never missed his mark.
Mm-hmm. His spot on the floor, the mark on the floor.
That's right.
That's right.
Mr. Blue Sky, member for 15 months. Thank you, sir, for being a member this entire time. Mr. Blue Sky says, I am a big fan of you, Adam. What do you think of quad freeze, dangly legs, and that stuff?
Here's what I think. I think after watching a lot of Rob Saul on the Rob Saul show, that Rob Saul is the one in a prison, and that quad seems pretty fucking free to me.
Yeah. I tell you what, he doesn't have to sit around jerking dogs off all day.
No.
Yeah. I don't even have any peanut butter in my house, believe it or not.
That we know of.
That's freedom right there.
Because of that reason.
Maybe I'm projecting. I'm projecting.
He's free to be Patricia, whatever the hell her name was.
Thank you, Mr. Blue Sky, for reminding everybody that I'm in a wheelchair prison forever, says the man. Great show. It's cool to hear Adam on others' shows. Thank you, Reverend Billy, for the $2. Absolutely, sir. Yeah, I can't really remember you being on anybody's show but WATP. I don't know if you've made the rounds yet, or people just don't ask, or how open you are to doing that.
I'm always open to it. It was when Kumia wanted to do WATP with me, and I was flattered, and I changed everything, and we worked it out to do it. And I was like, wow, we have such different beliefs, and I'm very vocal about that, but we're still coming together on this thing. Like, why wouldn't I? I was compelled to do the same thing that you were, Quad, which was talk to John on the air. It's a thing. It's like a mecca, some trip we all got to make for some fucking reason. And how could I not relate to you and what's happening here? And if you weren't already doing the show, it's something I would want to do. It's like, wow, I'm obsessed with this stuff. I would do a weekly wrap-up show, but you guys already do it so well, and you have a unique opinion on it. You know what I mean? I do this little piggy sometimes, and sometimes we can talk about other things, but at the beginning of WATP on Wednesdays, we're open to any questions that come up. And I just want people to know that I'm happy to answer anything. I don't really care. There's nothing that's going to offend me if it's sincere or if it's funny. I'm open to it.
Oh man, should I play your own word saying otherwise? How much you hate me and how much I suck.
Sure, go ahead.
We'll get to that here in a second. What do we got here? Written Asylum, member for 2 months. Excuse me. Ask Adam, who is currently the biggest lolcow now.
It's got to be Opie.
How now, lolcow now?
Oh man, yeah,
it's
I would agree. Opie, yeah.
Opie,
either Opie or on
the toe
scale. On a smaller scale, Joey C or the toe. Yeah.
No, Joey C doesn't count. He's irrelevant. He's not.
Like
big
I
enough.
said, on a small scale, but on the bigger scale.
Well, I mean, you can't measure his weight on a smaller scale, but definitely, how important he is. His celebrity is on a very small scale. Let's make that straightforward right now for everybody. Yeah. But yes, thank you, Written Asylum. Good question.
Thank you.
Opie, I would say my main reasoning for that is because of his past celebrity, not his current celebrity. But yeah, I think that is a major part of it for me when considering who's the biggest lolcow is that they had this huge, ginormous career and that they were such a big deal at a point. And now we get to see like Opie, for example, wake up and look like a ghost in the morning with his hair all messed up and his horrible takes on everything in a very uninspired, unentertaining. I feel weird that his kids are in the other room while he's doing like the worst podcast in the world when he did the greatest show that ever existed. What a fall, the mighty, huh?
Oh, and just this morning he was talking about how the Pope died, and he couldn't have an opinion on it. He had nothing to say. He was afraid to take any stance. He'd start to joke about it, and then he'd feel bad, and then he'd start supporting it, and he'd feel weak, and he would just had nothing to say at all. It's all of those people you mentioned. They all have something in common, and I don't know if it's what partly makes a lolcow, but they all had a dream gig and lost it, and that seems to trigger something in them where they haven't recovered, or they're still locked in that time, or they're just no longer in reality, and they're starting to put, this propaganda out that they feel compelled to just lift up against everything. And it's really fascinating to watch because every show Opie does makes his career worse. And if I was Opie's manager, you'd be like, stop. Every breath you take on air is hurting my ability to get you work, but this is what you think is helping you. And it's fascinating that these guys put this out there and refuse to accept any criticism. Like, that's not allowed. That's not a part of what happens. I only read good reviews. Go fuck yourself. You get good reviews.
Consider living in a cave.
Yeah.
That would be good for 10 years.
Exactly.
Maybe.
We don't even have to read that. We always have to bring up Peter Sky Parker in my audio. That seems to be the only thing we ever get to talk about over here at BYB is Peter Sky Parker's issues with my audio. Whatever. How dare you, sir? Well, I guess actually that kind of brings us to a good question. Not saying you're a lolcow, but as far as like regrets you have in life, Adam, what are your regrets? How about one of them or two of them, if he's kind enough? But yeah, what is every single regret in your life? Jacob Ryan S. $2.
I would say watching a lot of Rob Saul. I don't know if that was necessary. I don't think it had a positive.
Got him. You got him. Love it. Which is actually funny because on my screen here, I'm actually looking at Rob Saul because we're going to get into that. But
I think a lot of us could agree with that.
Whatever. We had Rob Saul on here a couple of weeks ago, and I've actually had him on my show a bunch of times because I knew him way back when he was working with Bob Levy, and him and Chris Abels were doing that show, Levy Land, and whatever. You can say what you want about it. Chris Abels and Rob Saul going back and forth, and Bob Levy like holding court was actually a pretty good freaking show, considering what it was.
It was actually a pretty good segment last time he was on. But I thought it was different than when he's doing his own show. It was interesting. So
I was always surprised they didn't pick it up at Compound Media. Did you have any thoughts about Compound Media or Censored.tv or Censored Compound, the conglomeration that has become at this point?
I just know, based on the Rob Saul thing, it was shocking that he calls himself the Dabbleverse villain. And when people criticize him, he's like, where is this coming from? I'm such a nice guy. I would never hurt anyone. How dare you? Like, they're referencing, I asked him, Rob, what keeps you up at night? And he responded very honestly. I thought it was awesome. And then he just started name calling and talking about violent sexual assault and just like the worst stuff you could think of because he, unlike you, went to the school of Stuttering John and actually thought this was how to broadcast. And he's still doubling down on these moves, which is just amazing because the guy you supported left you and abandoned you and is not helping and never paid you. And you're still holding, him up while missing what's happening all around you.
He's still hoping there's something there in the future.
Mm-hmm. It's over. You used to work with a guy from the Howard Stern show. That's what you have to say at the bar now. I'm sorry. I know you wish you could say, I'm working with a guy from the Howard Stern show because that sounds better, but that's not the reality. Maybe if you start telling people it's just you and your show, you'll feel obligated to provide something, some form of entertainment. That's not just reading the chats and then getting mad that we've taken over your show. If you don't want us to take over your show, don't read it. You didn't have to answer that. What keeps me up at night? Adderall. Next question. I don't have to get into the personal, inner workings of my past. I don't feel compelled.
To that point, Stuttering John would have much more of a life if he would just get off of the fact that he used to be on this Howard Stern show. That actually carries up to a higher exponent. There's a whole lot of value to that advice.
I agree completely. All I want to hear about is his day. We know his Howard Stern memories. We don't need to hear about it. I want to hear about
item. Yes,
he can't.
Yeah, if he just loses the memory from 20. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, you go. That's what we're saying. He can't. If he
just lose the talk of 25, 30 years ago, he'd be just a fraction more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he's got to keep going back to that same old shit day after day after day.
We could almost repeat it word for word. It's just we know.
Yeah, we could do a show just being him.
Yeah, everybody has pretty much.
We all know the responses. You mentioned someone, he's going to say this. You mentioned one topic, he's going to say that. It's almost like a stroke response. What's crazy is that he just doesn't admit.
Rinse, wash, repeat. Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
It's a cycle.
Yeah.
Rinse,
it's
wash,
like
repeat.
Somebody says that, you have to say that. That's what happens.
Yeah. Aaron Imholte a lot like that, like responding to stuff in chat and just like Chad Zumach, another guy. Yeah, they see something in chat and they can't not like respond to it. It's the weirdest thing. It's like you can ignore it. That it's a possibility, right? It is a trip. All right, getting into this. Your criticisms. Yeah, Honk. Good.
Well, I live in Northern California, Adam. Is there any way you could ship me some of that Adderall if you got any extra?
Yeah. I'm completely comfortable mailing it. Let me just get your address down. It'll be from the Duke of the Dabbleverse. So no one knows it's me. You just let me know.
I like that.
Completely untraceable.
Let me just swap out here. I hate having to move myself around the screen all the time. That's always a pain. Why can't you guys all be uniformly from one show to the next exactly the same? I'll never understand it, folks. Very difficult to deal with. There we go. All right. I'll shut up now. Mr. Blue Sky, don't give any of this to Rochi. Adam, do you make any music? I'm just asking since I do a lot.
Well, you're named after a great song. And yeah, there's a bunch of stuff by Common Rotation and my name that you can find on Spotify. Please check it out. And check out the new Ali Gertz record, the new Jamie Levine record that's coming out. And yeah, I'm always putting out stuff on there. So give it a listen.
Hell yeah. Also, Adam, I did not actually get this out of you. Yeah, how much do you have, like a hard out or anything specific I should be waiting on time-wise?
I'm great right now. Let's just keep going.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just I didn't know if you had a specific time you had to go or anything. So, yeah, let's rock it. Your criticisms. There's your favorite guy in the Dabbleverse right there. Rob Saw. Woo! I love the wrist. That's a very steel toe essent.
And Stuttering John esque with the claw kind of.
The claw. Yeah. Bend finger.
You got to not connect at all.
Fag and.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you want to talk about Quadfather?
Uh-oh.
The clip you sent me over of Quad?
Yeah, he's reviewing Dabble House.
Okay.
And he's not a fan, it seems. Not into it, but he seems open to suggestion. I feel like if you were to, hit him with another point of view, he would be willing to hear it. And clearly that's more than we can say about our friend Rob and a lot of these people.
Yeah.
Indeed. All right. Moving along. All right. So this is
We'll jump right into
like
Dabble
diddle. I just wanted to play you saying what you've already said here like twice tonight. I really like hearing you say that I'm really reasonable and seem like you can change your opinion if the evidence says so. But yeah, it's like an 8-minute clip. Rochi. So Rochi, yeah, he came up with a bunch of great points there. I was on my phone, I will have to admit. I was getting a bunch of text right in the middle of this from someone very questioning. Anyway, it's not a good excuse to be like staring down. But you did. You got me. You got me kind of half-ass paying attention and not giving good answers. I like the spot. You got it. What do you think about Rochi? What do you think about my co-host on the Weekly Dabble Review? You said you do watch it consistently enough to know about like Rochi and my.
Was he the gentleman on the couch with the blanket?
Yes, sir.
I think he should sit up.
My English brethren.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's doing a show. Sit up straight. Do a show. If you can sit up straight, he can. It's mocking. I don't like it. Take the blanket off.
Maybe that is
you're doing a show.
Maybe he is making fun of me. I didn't even think about that. You could be onto something there.
How dare you look presentable? This guy can't pull it off. He's too busy.
Exactly. I like that. All right. Like I said, this is like an 8-minute clip. You pretty much knock us all out of the park on this one. Maybe just play a little bit here at the end of it. But yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of the Dabble House, content house, as it were, if you will. I really did think it was kind of weird to do this second release. I know everybody boasted. Karl boasted about like, I don't really see how you could make fun of the Dabble House or the content therein. And it was like, well, everybody, like you said, everybody's got their own opinion on everything. So this is up for debate too, whether or not the Dabble House was worth what $35. I know we got that charge out of everybody. That is one of the biggest complaints I've heard from fans is that, they're now releasing all the tapes. You can listen to them anywhere, yet they charge $35. How did you feel about the way they set that up? And do you think it was worth the $35? Do you feel like maybe Karl didn't really have to do it the way he did it, or are you totally fine with all of it?
I think all the criticisms are fair, and I think everybody would be open to them. And it's a new thing that's happening. I think there's definitely a market for people willing to spend money on premium content for the Dabbleverse. And I think it's a wonderful thing that people are trying to provide it. I personally, my take on this thing and it's just what I find funny and what I enjoy is that serious journalistic, like Howard Stern news take on this bullshit. I like when people breaking news. John got a haircut, an emergency show. He's got a booger. I don't know. I find that funny. So within that, I like when stuff is released as soon as we have it. I like when it's journalistic. When we have it, it comes out. I think there are other things we could spend money on, but I was disappointed when I first logged in because I was like, oh, there's just a white background and there's nothing really happening. And this is stuff we could have heard any other time. And I didn't understand why everyone was together or what the benefit that would be for the audience. Like, it'd be fun for them, but we're just watching the same show covering the stuff that we know is coming. However, once they got together, I was reminded, like I am as an actor, how uncomfortable Zoom and online can be and how great it is when people are just in the same room, and the camaraderie and the ability to just go over the minutia of these tapes, which were just exceptional. I know I shouldn't be, but I was so pleased with everything we heard. And because Kate did such an insane job, and everyone has to acknowledge that regardless of how you feel about Shuli and Karl, Kate was like, I don't want any money. I don't even want to be there. I don't want to reap any of the benefits. Just do it. Like, there's this guy named Zay Frank, who's one of the creators of the internet and one of the first YouTubers, and he does these things, and I interviewed him once, and I was like, why did you do that? And he was like, I don't know, I just did it to do it. And I thought that was so strange, but now I do get it. There's nobility and honor in just pranking for the sake of trolling and for the sake of something you believe in, and providing everybody with this unbelievable look into this monster that I was just, by the second day, so happy and so pleased with everything and my ability to go back and listen to it again. And it was just a win for me. So it was both. I was disappointed at first and then pleased at the end. And all of these criticisms, I think, are fair.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah, and the major issue I have is like they do already do memberships and they already have Patreons, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm saying? So for there to be a whole other thing, I like the way you put that. Like it is kind of better to do it more in an emergency show or but whatever. I'm sure they had to probably comb through all of the voice, that's a lot of recording.
I would want it just unedited. I just want to hear it raw. I really do.
Play it through. Yeah.
And I hope they do release just the tapes. I would love that.
I think Shuli did.
Fantastic.
I understand. So there you go. All right. So you did say that you watch every week, and we're not going to watch 9 minutes of us talking about me talking. You know what I mean? This is far too much. I've talked enough. Yeah, it feels like way too much Inception to actually even really get into it. But you did say you watched every week, and I forget exactly how you put it, but it wasn't very nice. You said,
"Oh no, I probably said I tune in every week and I want it to be good, but it feels very slow and unfocused."
And yeah, you say you're always waiting for it to be better, and it never is. That's I think exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's similar with Bob Levy. I love Bob Levy too, and I tune in and I'm like, when is this show going to start? It's been 45 minutes. What the fuck is happening? But I'll write him, when is the show going to start? And he always has a positive reaction, so I appreciate that. He's not like, go fuck yourself, you're blocked.
Fair criticism. And the main thing I like to, in my defense, say is we do I'll advertise the fact that I like to mess around for about 45 minutes in the beginning of the show. It is standard operating procedure, and I'm sure you've probably actually seen that a little bit on this show as far as that goes. But yeah, we do take quite a bit of time to get into the topics. And, I do understand the way the WATP does it. It's all very scripted. It's very highly produced, highly scripted. And they boom, 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 boom. If you get off script at all with Karl on his show, I can see he does not like that.
What is the script? What's the script?
No, just the way they go through whatever they produce for the show. It's very like on time, go, 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 go.
Sure, they moves along
a lot into their shows.
But there's no script.
Argue that.
I can tell you, there's no script. There's barely any. There's no talking beforehand. There's just look at clips and then show him. There's no party line or script that I'm aware of.
Okay. So as far as point dabble point, I don't know if Honky and Kahuna would agree with me, but I know we've talked about that on the shows before. Definitely, I think there was a time when like point dabble point, there was a lot more back and forth with people with differing opinions. It does seem like everybody is just in line, in sync. Everybody just agrees and moves on with almost every single point. I rarely see disagreements on point dabble point. It is pretty much just everybody's on the same page. And a little bit, everybody's just giggling, laughing, and smiling, maybe a little bit more than they should be, because there's not a lot of jokes happening.
I don't appreciate anything false, and you and I have had a lot of disagreements just on this show, but we haven't disagreed about John. And that's a show about John. And even Karl and I are very different, from different backgrounds and different beliefs, but we just agree about these lolcows in this situation. And we enjoy dissecting it in a certain way. And there was never a discussion, and I bring him Rob Saul, and he hadn't thought about that in forever. And he brings me Opie, and it's like, wow, that gives me the same feeling I get from John, but for a totally different reason. And there's no agenda that I'm aware of. And if there is, I wouldn't hold to it, because I have my own beliefs, and I don't feel restricted to say anything that I want to say. It doesn't mean I agree with everything, but I could appreciate it all. Like, I've never heard criticism about me that I disagree with. I'm long-winded. I'm aware of that. Anybody wants to point that out there, fucking right. I am working on landing that plane, but until then, I'm not going to block anyone that says that. Why would I do that?
Absolutely. And I do want to get back to this clip where we were showing on this little piggy Karl's response, and see what you thought of this. I don't know. Did you get a chance to see him on this little piggy when him and Moody were discussing what had happened with the doxing incident?
No, I missed that.
We kind of just glossed over the whatever. We got into the doxing enough to just say, like, yeah, obviously he did absolutely say the dude's name. Once again, I have to swap sides of the screen. I don't like this. Stop doing this to me, Karl. Everybody else does the other side. Why do you have to be different? All right, we'll go there. Yeah, and Aaron came out hot. He's not really in tune with anything, so someone sent him a clip, and he comes in totally uninformed as usual, with a highly opinionated, very under as far as knowing anything. He never seems to have any grasp of facts. He just comes in hot. That's his that seems like his brand from what I've watched.
And other times when he's not thinking about trying to take a dig, he'll be like, "Oh yeah, Moody." Like,
oh whoops, I mean, guy in the Discord. Yeah, right.
Right.
So yeah, let's hear what he says there, because I'm going to play. This is just a perfect example. I know it's about me, and it's douchey that I'm doing this, but it just happened this morning, so I got to address this, because there were people who I think clipped this or linked to the section of my show. Who Are These Podcasts on Wednesday with Adam Busch. We were just kind of shooting the shit and getting things going before the actual show started. And I brought up a few things that were going on. I'm going to.
I thought you just said you guys don't shoot the shit before the shows. How dare you? No, you were saying produce stuff before the shows. I guess that would be the caveat.
Well, didn't I say before that we're doing this open-ended thing at the beginning where anybody can ask any questions they want, and I'm happy to answer them? That's the beginning part.
Yeah. Well, I was just actually messing with you a little bit. He was saying shooting the shit. So you were shooting the shit at the beginning of the show. And that's when that Rusa thing came out. You guys were within the first 5 minutes of the show when he started saying that. So maybe that was highly off. I won't even say script, because now you say there isn't one. So whatever. He was just riffing at the beginning of a show and just happened to throw out this guy's name in this situation, whatnot. So
hear the way that Aaron says it went down, and then we'll see how it actually went down. And just to show you the spin and the lies from Aaron Imholte.
Thing from Keanu's channel. Karl lost his mind because one guy wanted a refund because he finally found out after all these years Karl's terrible at his job. So he asked for a refund privately asked Karl, hey, your content was shit. It's like Stuttering John all the time. You've got nothing. You're a one-trick pony. I'd like my money back. What?
Filling in a lot of blanks right there. I got a private message from a guy who says, hey, I want my money back. You suck at your job. We're tired of Stuttering John material. It's all you got. Like, he filled in all this stuff. None of this has any basis in reality. But he goes through all of it.
Shit, it's like Stuttering John all the time. You've got nothing. You're a one-trick pony. I'd like my money back. Wasn't even that mean. And then Karl went and said his full name on the air, spelled out his full name. Threw a bitch fit. It was embarrassing. It was like watching a child not get the cereal he wants in a grocery store, only worse. Oh, it was so embarrassing. So that's not going well.
How embarrassing. I wouldn't want to show that on my show. This is the thing that Aaron will do, where he'll be like,
okay, so he is over exaggerating, but we already watched that clip. I know it's been freaking half hour ago or whatever. It's been a while since we didn't show back to back, like side by side, but we did get the idea that bitch boy Rusa was kind of a hot way to come out. So I don't necessarily have to disagree with Steel Toe on this one, that Karl was kind of douchey about the whole situation. Whatever. He was just probably having fun with it, or it didn't seem like he was having fun with it. I guess that's not really a question, but it is kind of a question, Adam. What do you see the dichotomy, though? Like how Karl's trying to spin it like it was not that way, but it did seem to come off that way to me when we watched it.
Well, no, as we said before, I think he thought he did come in hot and unnecessarily hot. And I think the person was talking about the interface of the website, and I think he thought they were talking about the content. And I could see somebody being like, really? You're a fan of the Dabbleverse and Stuttering John, and you heard those tapes and you're not satisfied? Like, that's strange. I don't know what you were looking for, because it was everything you could ever want and definitely worth the money. But the first day was rough with the dealing with that website. Right. I experienced it. Other people experienced it. And when I said to Karl, hey, I think he's not talking about the Kate tapes. I think he's talking, and that you guys are together. I think he's talking about just the difficulty with the website. He said, oh, okay. Yeah, you might be right. And then I backed off a little bit.
And that happened after the show, or did that happen during the
in the beginning of the show when this stuff came up? Because I missed the doxing, but I caught what the guy was saying. And I was like, oh, if the guy had issues on the first day, that's fair. And I said that to him, and he wasn't like, go fuck yourself, you're blocked. He said, oh, yeah, you might be right. I hope you are. Because he was, I think, hurt by that. And then when he heard there was a way out, he wasn't doubling down on the bad thing. He was glad there was an alternative to what's happening here, which it might be. I don't know. He'll have to speak up. But it's never necessary to say anybody's name.
Yeah, exactly. I guess that is the main point of all of this stuff is never say the dude's name, even if they're the way he went about it was wrong. And Karl does explain that in this clip that, he should have just sent me a private email like everybody else did. But this guy went about it the different way. He tried to have his credit card deny the charges Yeah, so whatever. He went about it in the incorrect way, I guess, unless...
Well, like you said, coming in hot with an opinion, which it's okay to change as facts develop. I don't know. That's not a negative. I don't think that's a sign of weakness. I think it's a sign of strength.
Fair enough. All right, let's just hear him explain it a little bit more.
So-and-so says that this happened. He'll never show the clip. I'm going to show Aaron the clip. I'm not embarrassed by this. I mean, I did... do the wrong thing, which I will explain. I'm happy to admit when I'm wrong about something, and I was very wrong about this. But you just heard Aaron claim that I was throwing a bitch fit, or what was I doing? I said like a child.
You were like a child that was in the grocery store not getting the cereal he wanted. Like, people say my analogies are bad. Like, this is...
Come on. Great.
The Lord of the Rings one was better.
Let's see what he's referring to. I want to call out the bitch boy of the day. It's a fun new segment I'm starting up over here on WATP.
Oh, cool.
So far I'm smile talking, but all right, let's see. Maybe I get angry and throw a fit in a minute. Find out. Oh. Yeah.
Well, I mean, just by starting off the bitch boy of the day, I mean that does seem like I guess we've already kind of agreed on that. It does feel like he came in hot. So
a lot.
Richard Russa has put in a dispute through my merchant account services. Oh, weird. Aaron said that it was a private message to me asking for his money back. But I just said it was a dispute through my merchant account.
Which is like
very different.
People might not understand how big this sort of thing is.
Right.
So
this is going to do like Better Business Bureau shit if you get too much of this stuff going on.
There's sending a message privately saying, hey, I want my money back. And I'm sure.
And by the way, I got a few messages, people saying I bought it twice or this happened or that happened. And I go, what's your PayPal? And we take care of it. Any private, and I communicated with over 100 people this past weekend about.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how many people watch that thing live, but yeah, that's hundreds of people. Hundreds of people that paid the $35 to watch the thing, and whatever. We don't have to watch this entire clip. I know that's it's a little extra to watch 5 minutes of another clip. Anyway, I don't have a merchant account. I mean, I do have Stripe, which is the super tip system is through Stripe and whatnot. I don't know. It's probably the same process. People would just like complain. They would try to get the charges denied and maybe have a message. I didn't know that you could send a message with a denial, but yeah, he's saying a merchant site, which is
what is that?
I guess that's the live streaming service.
Where they ran their credit cards through.
But it must go through his merchant site. So I never canceled any type of like credit card for fraud or for like unhappiness of the product and have a message. So that's not something I've actually been capable of doing. But anyway, I guess the main point is
I have done that as a last resort.
You have done it before?
As a last resort. Yeah.
Like what?
It was a long.
You couldn't get a hold of anybody or complain anywhere, and there was no one to talk to but an AI bot somewhere, or like what?
No, it's a really long story, but something got ordered that I didn't order, and I wanted my money back. You know, it got charged to me. I wanted my money back, and they said, no, all sales are final. It's like, you know, there was emails back and forth for a couple of days, and finally I went about it that way because I wasn't getting anywhere else.
Yeah, last resort.
And it worked.
Anyway,
it was $2,000.
Yeah, that is worth disputing. Sounds like absolutely. Yeah, so I would say Karl way overreacted, and maybe his explanation could have just been a little bit smoother, but whatever. He did take ownership of it, said, hey, I made a mistake, and end of story. I guess you could leave it at that he did apologize and say that was a bad look on him. And you've already said, so I'm not going to ask you ad nauseum, like, what do you think about him doxing? Can you say that it was a bad thing more than once? I think
that's what's happening. So
yeah.
Happy to move on if you want to. Adam twisted hell out of Quad's nipple rings. Ouch. Maybe.
I don't owe AIDS, and as you probably recognize the Sunday shirt, which we wear every Sunday on the weekly Dabble review. Indeed. So I was glad to find out. I'm always glad I'm curious to see who actually watches the weekly Dabble review. I know that there are some people that watch it that may steal some stuff, because I watch all of the shows, man. I'm as much of a fan as I am wanting. The content creating like came as a secondary thing from being a fan of all this stuff. Sounds
Same
like
here.
you are in the same boat.
Thing. And doesn't it amaze you to hear people like Opie from the Opie and Anthony show saying, I don't watch any of it, but I'll comment on all of it. Like all these people pretending to not see it ever.
Yes, thank you.
Why?
Yeah.
I hate it. Somebody sent me this clip This guy sent me. No,
Yes.
you were watching it. There's nothing wrong with
Yes.
watching it. Even if you don't like it, watch it. Admit it, and then comment on it. It makes you sound more intelligent than I have an opinion on this thing I haven't seen.
Yeah, I would absolutely say that I'm glad to hear you say that, because not everyone is happy to admit that they watch the shows, but you can tell by the way they talk about stuff that I would say almost most of these guys watch all of the like a lot of the shows,
because they all do the same tell. They all say, I was watching this little piggy or three piggies or whatever. They always say it correctly first, and then or whatever, I don't really know. No, you just said it. You know what it is because you watched it. They think they're fooling us is embarrassing.
It is, and they always say you brought up the line, which is someone sent me a clip, and it's like, so you literally have all these spies out there watching shows, and like, oh, you got to check out this timestamp, or people are like clipping stuff and then sending. I highly
so these
doubt
good
it.
friends of yours that are close to you daily send you things they know you don't want to see and are actively avoiding, and those are your friends. Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, and if anybody has ever actually sent one of these guys a clip of something that is negative that they don't want to see, like you just said, the way you said it, they will be like, why are you sending me this? I don't want to see this. Like I've literally had a bunch of these bigger shows like send me that kind of a message. Like, I don't have time for this, or they'll just ignore you, or you know what I mean? Like, they really actually don't want to deal with people sending them stuff all the time. They don't have time for it, a lot of them. And secondly, yeah, they probably already watched it themselves, so they don't need you to tell them that it happened. They saw it. They're like, of course I watched my biggest enemy show, every single one of them, all the way from beginning to end. Hear every last word that comes out of their mouth. We know that. Like, Steel Toe's been caught doing that a bunch. Like Matt, his old co-host, used to be like, oh yeah, we were watching Melton at the bar, and it's like, that's hilarious. Love it. EFS, thank you, sir, for the super sticker. We appreciate that. All right. But that brings me back to you watch the Weekly Dabble Review consistently. I know that, like, in the past, Insufferable Bastards has watched. He used to do a show. It was kind of like a Weekly Dabble Review type situation. He quit doing it. But now I noticed people bringing up Clearwater Chad is a perfect example of this. He's been doing the Weekly Dabbleverse review on Tukey's Soup on Saturdays. Out of nowhere, he just came up with this great idea out of his head, you know? And now I kind of caught this one today from Point Dabble Point. It just popped in my head, and it was like, this sounds familiar as well. I just get your thoughts on this. And the lovely Kaylee, who's in the chat with us, the lovely, beautiful Lucy Tybox.
Ever, because he's starting a family like a dummy.
Oh yeah,
this is great.
Somebody's
I love
got
this.
to do it.
I love that. Like, he thinks he's not going to want to get out of that fucking house once this family starts. Last show, my balls. I remember, Mike. You remember us on Sirius XM on Miserable Men? Me going, yeah, man, I'm going to quit smoking weed when this kid's born.
No more video games, man. I got to be a responsible parent.
Let me tell you how crazy it was. My wife at one point says, you don't even have to worry about changing diapers. I'll take care of that. And I'm sitting here bragging to Mike. I'm going,
I'm sorry. God, I hate when I do that. I did the minute too early. Sorry.
So we talked a little bit at the beginning about, Point Dabble Point. We've always been discussing the world of John. Yeah. Well, John's on strict mommy orders to not, be out there and be
he
participating.
Wants to so bad. He wants to respond to this stuff. It's killing him.
Yeah.
That he can't go online.
It's like a vampire that can't get into this. Like the victim is in the sun and he's trying to get there.
Yeah. Oh, you know too much about that. I didn't even catch that when I listened to it earlier. You know way too much about vampires, don't you, Adam?
So he is definitely not doing as much as he normally would. But that's not going to stop us because there are other happenings in the Dabbleverse that we should cover. Here at TSN, we don't really cover Opie. We don't really cover Steel Toe. I know Karl every once in a while do Brennan, but he doesn't do a regular thing on. So we figure let's bring all these worlds together, and let's go over some stuff.
Yeah, it's a perfect place for a weekly roundup of what's going on in the Dabbleverse because.
Well, I mean, what a great idea. A weekly roundup of things going on in the Dabbleverse. That sounds like a great show to have on a Monday right after the weekly Dabble Review on Sunday, which is at 5 o'clock Eastern every Sunday on BYB. You have to get your memberships to be watching it. But yes, so I did notice that everybody and their dog all of a sudden has the weekly Dabble Review now that Stuttering John's not around. This is going to be the longest winded question of all time. I'm sorry. I keep doing that to you. I know if Vince the lawyer was watching me, he would be infuriated by me doing these two-part questions and long-winded questions, but that's just how I do stuff. Yeah, so first question up. Point Dabble Point. Regardless, it was a Stuttering John show. How do you see the Shuli network, Point Dabble Point, Stuttering John, by leaving the Dabbleverse, has really affected some of these channels? Do you have some thoughts that you could expound upon us about that?
Specifically in terms of
how like Stuttering John, he said he was going to put the Shuli network out of business. I don't know. I do know their numbers are down a little bit since they're doing less and less Stuttering John. So now that the Shuli network seems like they're going to be moving into all things Dabbleverse or other, and it has seemed to affect their income and their views. What do you think about Stuttering John's absence and its effect on the Dabbleverse?
I don't think his exit will mean there's less content to cover or less of a desire to be involved in his world the same way I'm just as invested in Eric the Midget this many years after he's gone. But I'm all about covering all of the stuff from the Dabbleverse on all of the shows, because when we talk about Opie, I'm the one who gets criticized for constantly bringing things back to John or to Chad because there's just so many similarities, and I become very fascinated with those similarities. So I'm all about that, and seeing as how, just as a rule, you'll take the opposite point of view of whatever Shuli or Karl have to say. There's definitely room for two shows because they're going to have opposing views to begin with, if that's the nature of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I wasn't trying to say like, oh, I invented the weekly dabbles, whatever's like, and people are stealing my ideas. I'm just seeing that people are starting to get away from like singular content, and they're starting to move into like what I had done from the beginning,
which I think is the correct approach. Look at all of it. It's all related. It all affects each other. My question is, how is John going to handle this? Because exactly. It's the Dabbleverse that's supporting him now in the way that he always wanted. Is he aware of that? Is he aware that that's who's coming out? Does he know how to play into that successfully so that he can make money off it? Or is it, I'd rather die, on the curb than admit to anyone that they were right?
Okay, so you're not in the camp that is so I heard Shuli say like at some of these sold out events, like they're bringer shows. They're like these people don't even know who Stuttering John is. They're just showing up to some comedy gig. So you're under the opinion that he is the draw. He is selling out these shows. He is absolutely
I think it's a combination of what you said and the Dabblers. I think in these, look at where he's playing. It's always the off city, the off suburb in some place in Middle America, where absolutely from the Howard Stern show playing in your small town, if you liked that, you'll go see it. It's gonna bring people in who don't remember, and then the Dabblers, and that together is enough to be an audience. That's enough to make a successful ChillerCon appearance. I mean, that's what it is. People who remember you from the past and are interested in what you're doing now. Opie was just talking about some cab driver in Atlanta recognizing him from Patrice O'Neal tapes. You know, and now that's what he knows him from now. And Opie was like, and he doesn't even know I'm still podcasting. It's like, how would he know? There's 100 people there. How would he know? He was shocked by it. Like, John, it's so funny because all of his dreams came true. In his local bar, his local pub in Cape Coral, there was 100 people there raising their beer going, Skol! And he couldn't enjoy it. It's like a Shakespearean tragedy. All of your dreams right there, and you can't enjoy it. That's like a Twilight Zone episode. It's so crazy. And he has to leave before they get there like a coward, when really what he should, it's just one mental flip, and he's the king. And he won't do it. And it's amazing to watch.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you said, but I don't know, you know, whatever. He left like right before. Whatever. I have questions about all that. I do like your point about I had never really considered what Rochi said about the parking lot being so damn small. Yeah, if he was out there in his car, then obviously Stuttering John would have seen Shuli hiding in his car if that were the case. So fair points. I'm not sure exactly how that worked.
Imagine we get into a disagreement here on this show, and we're just like, fuck it, and I get off, and we're pissed, and now we're enemies, and it turns out you, Quad, are coming to my local pub down the block where I can walk to, and you say you're gonna be there at 8 o'clock, and I'm like, I've been waiting all this time to show Quad. I'm gonna show up till 15 minutes before he's about to be there, and then I'm gonna leave.
Yeah, there's a lot of
bluster
in this world. It is bullshit. Yeah, you know,
that's it. That's what happened. It's the only thing that happened.
If it would have taken till 15 after the hour, I guess you make a good point. Why wouldn't you still be there a half hour later?
For the honor of his children and his family.
Yes.
You can't be there 15 minutes later.
My family. You doxed everybody. Yeah, for sure, man. Okay, yeah, that is a very good point, actually. I had never really thought of it like that. But we had this coming and going with Chad Zumach, and we kind of know that Chad Zumach waited till he knew that John had left Cape Coral to make the trip down to the Boca Black Box before he showed up to his house also. So, yeah, there's some shenanigans going on. What do you think about all this bluster? What do you think about grown men constantly saying, hey, I'm going to beat your ass when I see you, and then they're whatever you think about when they actually see each other face to face and they're like, oh, hey, let's shake hands now. We're buddies, right? Yeah. Or not. The other John trying to beat people up. Full grown men.
I've never met anyone from the Dabbleverse in real life, so I don't know. I don't know what it's really gonna be like, but I know it's John's the only one I hear threatening to fight people. I just hear everyone else going, okay, maybe Chad a little bit too, maybe KB a little bit, but these are like old, weak white men that have no business making threats to anyone. And it just shows emotional immaturity because no one thinks they're tough. No one thinks Phil Elmore is tough. No one thinks these people are fighting. It's ridiculous. They do it because they can't use words. When their words don't work, their fists just like a fucking, primal response. It's none of that. We're supposed to be roasting each other. If you can't roast, get out of the room.
So if you've never met any Dabbleverse people, I think you need to show up at QuadCon 2026, if I can get out of the way, in Reno, Nevada.
I don't know if you are you a fan of the biggest little city in the world? Reno, Nevada. I'm really close to Reno, and whatever. I've been going there since I was a young man. QuadCon 2026 featuring Quadfather, Kahuna, Honk the Clown, Dave Serra. I don't know. Dave Serra, like I said, he was going to pop in here tonight at some point. But, QuadCon Reno next year, man. We're trying to get some big names, some headliners. I'm sure Adam Busch. That's too big of a name to come to QuadCon.
No, if I need any big names or headliners, I will steer them your way because that sounds like a lot of fun. If it's just a live taping of the podcast, that's awesome.
It's gonna. Yeah,
we haven't even really planned for everything that's going to be there, but we got a year. We're
I didn't notice a date. Was there a date?
No, not yet. We're trying to go up against Joey C. Go the same weekend that he's doing his, so that we can take away, like
Joey
we do with everything else. There's a Catalano Con in Tampa Bay, so we're trying to go up against that.
They're gonna have a dunk tank.
Make sure you have it above a Chuck E. Cheese.
There you go.
Circus. Close to Reno. Yeah, Peter Sky Parker. Did I stutter? I didn't think so.
There's legal brothels there. There's we can make good on our promise to Patrice and live in one of those for a little while.
It ain't Brazil, but Reno is just like Brazil.
There might be some Brazilians, some ladies with a Brazilian wax job done to them. Possibly.
Just an old folks' home in a different location.
I did cruise out by the Mustang Ranch. Yeah, back in the 90s. Me and my dad were headed out that direction on that highway, and it was like, oh, let's pull in and just look at the sign.
You and your dad?
Yeah, and we just read.
Whose idea was it?
Oh, we were just driving by, so we just pulled into the parking lot and read the sign pretty much.
But
it's like, there's a gate, and you got to walk through the gate you got to like buzz through. I guess you got to talk to someone, but yeah, the outside on the gate, there's a huge sign. It's like, yeah, if you catch any STDs, it's all on you. We're not liable, et cetera, et cetera. It was like, oh, that's a little creepy, but yeah, other than that, I get it. I knew a guy that went out there after he won a ton of money at a casino. They comped him to go out there.
What did he say? Did he like it? Was it fun?
Well, him and his buddy went there, and they ordered each other's girls. And the guy ordered my buddy, like the dominatrix kind that will punch you in the face and stuff. So he went in there. He had no idea what was coming. She walked in there and just started straight punching him in the face like a psycho. Like it was like a battle for his life. That's what how he explained it. He was fighting for his life. And, he was hitting her, whatever. I don't even want to say much more than that, but yeah, it's
didn't her leather suit and the whip fucking kind of frighten him at the beginning of it?
I don't think it was like that. It wasn't like you see in the movies. It was something else entirely. So, shocker.
Okay,
some ex wrestler chick, I suppose, big brawny.
Indeed. All right, we got some Opie stuff to get into and some Still Till. I don't know, you still good on time, or we'll let you get out of here if you don't want to cover Opie. But yeah, his wine lips. Are you ready for wine lips?
Yeah, I would love to just get into a little bit of this Opie stuff, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
me hanging around because
of course, man.
What is this? Is that wine? What is it? Is it lipstick? What's going on? It's consistent.
Yeah. And I've been watching Opie morning shows for some time, and it hasn't always been this way. So my guess, we're adding something new into the mix. I'm guessing that it is wine. Whether he's drinking to the second he falls asleep at night, or he's waking up and having a glass. One of the two. Something's going on there. I guess we can get into it a little bit, but he does respond to it multiple times on his morning show. So let's do this.
Join our cool little group. Kenny, I know you don't want co-host. Can I interview you sometime on my channel? No. Maybe one day, like what I'll do is I'll just set up and sit here like a dummy, and I'll just like maybe one day, like what I'll do is I'll just set up and sit here like a dummy, and I'll just tap into a whole bunch of live streams and do a whole bunch of silly interviews. I got blocked, LOL. Oh, and you're this guy too? Yeah, let me block this account too. Goodbye. There's a
yeah. What do you think about all the blocking and everything that he's been doing in the? Obviously, he's got a ton of trolls. He's almost pretty much getting Jocktober done to him at this point. Yeah. Do you just enjoy him getting picked on, kind of like Stuttering John did? I mean, we're almost back to the same thing.
That's why I feel like these weekly wrap-up shows are necessary. It's why is he doing it then? He's acting like this is something that's happening to him that he has no control over. If you have something to say, you don't have to answer the chat. If you don't want to answer the chat, don't pick it up. He said, I mean, in the last couple days, he was admitting that he's still a millionaire. So then why are you going against everything you believe and want and feel is necessary for your mental health for $1.99 from Detroit Dabbler? Why are you doing that? And why are you acting like there's no free will? It's fascinating.
Yeah, to be insulted $2 at a time. And the one thing he did say recently, I will say, is we went over a show where he was talking about the HOA fees, and he was explaining like no old people live in New York City because by the time you retire and whatnot, you can't live and be taxed and have HOA fees. Like, it doesn't matter how much money you have practically. You can't make enough money to pay for that stuff all the way till you die. So he's like, no old people live in New York City. If at some point they have to move out, somewhere cheaper or whatever. It's not safe to live in New York City till you die. I would imagine somewhat as well. So
does he understand that it's not inspiring me to give him the extra $1.99 I have when he mentions having to spend $6,000 a month on HOA fees? That's not even his mortgage. Like, that doesn't make me want to support the podcast.
Exactly. Plus, he has two places. One of them out there, not Martha's Vineyard. I can never remember the name of the place. Not Martha's Vineyard. The Hamptons. Thank you. Yeah, and apparently that house is very small. I just recently found that out this week. That,
it doesn't matter the size or what it's made of. That location and that lot is just so valuable. It's so expensive.
Even how small that is, that's probably a $2 million home over there now.
And you notice he's obsessed with shooting himself in these very like rich locations. This last thing he did with his buddy Buzzy, and it was like he finally left. But it was because he had this like really posh background to shoot with this pool and this hot tub and all of this landscaping. I don't know why he thinks that's a show.
I don't know why he's got to have that ring light in his shot.
Well, I mean, the reflection's there, so he's like forced to it doing it. He could lower the thing, but it would only be him covering the fact that there is a ring light there. He picked that location. That he's stuck with it, man. Like he loves that view, so is what it is. Yeah, I mean, can you see a guy running out of money from $26 million? I don't. Do you have any insights into the old lady he picked? As far as she does seem like a very she likes to be treated well. She definitely enjoys probably the lifestyle that Manhattan. And he has said before, like, oh, I don't want to move because my kids go to a private school and I don't want them to have to find new friends. I don't know about you, but did you grow up exclusively on Long Island and never have to go to a different school and meet new friends? It's not that big a deal.
I don't. Anytime he mentions his kids, because he doesn't like to talk about them, and he shouldn't, but when he does, it's always as an excuse for whatever behavior he's doing or trip he's making. The only part of his family life that I find fascinating is how he would talk about how his in-laws hated Anthony and they hated his beliefs. And they made him feel less than, like he was doing some sellout show or he was compromising his values by doing this. And instead of taking pride in the thing he believed in and was working on and supporting his compromising friend, he immediately sided with these in-laws and was like, you're right. I'm doing something that's less than. And he would fight and argue this point on the show. And I feel like he might regret it now.
I just tell him not to spend his money. He's making all kinds of money.
He was pretty much admitting that he's wishy-washy on his political views and his core beliefs to the fact that his so maybe he's the same way with the financial stuff. Maybe like his old lady likes the lifestyle and the Manhattan, the setup that they got, and like no matter what, even though it's draining their bank accounts, who knows? I don't know how tight their relationship is.
No one knows. I think he has valuable assets and no liquid cash and no money coming in and a lot of expenses. But he knows he could get a loan or sell one of these properties at any point and make money off of it. So I don't know how you live like that. I've never lived like that personally.
Right. Yeah, like Stuttering John. It does appear like Stuttering John has to keep doing something for income because he's not set with the one house he has in Florida and whatever. He has like very little assets or in the way.
That's his mother's house, and he doesn't have any assets.
Exactly. So like he does have to keep working one way or the other. Maybe he's waiting for his mom to pass away and get a chunk of that house too. But other than that, it does appear like he has to work forever. Like I don't see that he had a retirement plan. It's not. Doesn't appear.
I mean, and isn't that a much more interesting story and stream than the rich, famous guy from the 90s? Like, isn't the struggling person so much more endearing and interesting? Something you'd want to watch or maybe even root for, as opposed to like a pompous person who's already accomplished everything they have in life, so they don't mind being in the gutter.
Yeah. Saying it like that makes a lot of sense because we always root for the underdog, but unless they're a totally unlikable douche like John, then it's a different story. Yeah, then you're like, no, we don't want you to win because you suck. You're an asshole.
Well, he doesn't want you to win, and he doesn't want me to win, and he doesn't want anyone around him to, even the people he claims to love or be hitting on. He doesn't want them to win or get jobs. He doesn't want his political partners to be on Bill Maher. He doesn't want Kate to get a job at Sirius XM. So that's why he's alone.
Exactly. All right, let's hear that once
Opie
again.
and Stuttering John have so many similarities. It's unbelievable.
It's crazy. It really is. And they have such different lives and different beliefs. And I grew up with John and I fell into Opie later, but I'm equally as fascinated because there's a similar thing going on here that's just fascinating to watch. And the idea that they broadcast it for us to see this like demise in real time is just crazy.
I mean, let's say John stayed with Suzanne or, we could see almost this exact situation playing out, possibly LA, just the LA version of it. But yeah, I think especially when John had his divorce, he really got nailed financially because he was heavily invested in the house and whatnot out there in LA. So that really crushed him financially, I do believe. Let's hear the lips excuse again.
No.
So what Base Pill was trying to show there is that in the chat that he's going to scream again. Sorry.
On my channel. No.
Yeah. So he's reading. Opie is paying attention to every single word in his chat, which I think also feeds into the demise because very much like Stuttering John, the problem Opie has is his chat moves very slowly. Stuttering John's chat actually was cruising, so he could ignore 90% of the stuff except for the super chats that said mean stuff to him. Unlike Opie, his chat's like creeping, so he really can't read.
At least Stuttering John has an agenda. He has a list of points that he wants to get out no matter what, and he's gonna get them out. Opie doesn't even have that. He doesn't even know how he feels about the Pope dying. He doesn't want to form an opinion about his own co-host doing shows about him. You don't have an opinion on that? They ask an athlete about one of his former teammates. He's like, I have no thoughts. Can you imagine that? Why are you broadcasting then?
Yeah, that's the next clip we got too. So we can go over that one here next. But yeah, just I did want to see the reaction to the sipping from the coffee mug. Let's see what he says.
No. Maybe one day, like what I'll do is I'll just set up and sit here like a dummy, and I'll just like maybe one day, like what I'll do is I'll just set up and sit here like a dummy, and I'll just tap into a whole bunch of logic.
Yeah. So do you? I think what Base Pill is trying to say there is that he got a little bit sensitive about the fact that that he's getting called out for drinking wine on screen. I think he did that. It's not a fool's sip, but it's a fool's wipe. You did a fool's wipe. He was like, oh, you're calling me out for my purple lips. Yeah, and you can see how purple those things are too. And like I said, in the past, it's not been this way. So maybe the stress of doing more podcasting and being more noticed, especially by Anthony, Jimmy, or the him realizing that those guys are moving on and doing something awesome, whereas he's still just sitting in that room doing his horrible show for 10, 15 people every early in the morning.
Them doing shows together is going to break off in his ass a real bad way.
It's hurting him. You could tell. So yeah, has the drinking picked up now that he's having more issues dealing with the fact that those guys are going somewhere and he's done? He's just sitting there.
I didn't know anything about his relationship with alcohol or whether he ever drank or not. And I really didn't think that's what it was and assumed he would have an explanation for it until the first time somebody said, "Hey man, is that wine?" And his reaction was so over the top and performative that it was like, oh shit, I think that is clearly what's happening. Because if somebody asked me right now, are you drunk on wine? I wouldn't freak out like that and have such a personal offense to it. So clearly that's what's happening. And I think he should just admit that he's obsessed with Anthony and do a wrap-up show every Monday of his Anthony's Sunday show. And it would be fascinating. Like, Opie, don't you think that your former co-hosts getting terrestrial radio jobs is a good thing for you? Don't you think that, I mean, isn't that the greatest thing that could ever happen to you? And don't you want them to be successful? So if they're successful, maybe you'll be popular again? Like, the fact that you're rooting against them shows that you don't even know what's best for you. And that's, again, fascinating to watch.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point because he is actually getting more light shined on him now that Anthony's out there talking shit about him all the time. Like if it weren't for that, he would still be. But he's not profiting off of it. It does not seem like.
Well, because he chooses not to. You have all of these shows covering you, and you won't interact with them. Then you don't know what the internet is. You don't know what a show is. You don't know what's happening. He is supposed to be this tastemaker, right? He discovered all these great comedians. He has the eye for talent. The best show he ever did was with Cardiff and Rocco and all of the vegetables. It was the first time I was reminded about why Opie is enjoyable. He had that thing, he was the straight man. The joke was on him. It was enjoyable again. And he had that experience. He genuinely had fun and said, never doing that again. And if I schedule another gig with them, I'll stand them up. That's how little respect I have for them. All of his instincts are so off. It's incredible.
That's hurtful, Dejois. Imagine if 76. That's very hurtful. Thank you, though, Dejois. Appreciate that noticing. Okay, so what do you think about this offer that Kevin Brennan put out on the plate that he should be doing $4,000 a week on Mondays going over what Anthony did the night before on his radio program and tearing it apart, etc.?
He should be doing it. He's already doing it, but not admitting he's doing it. He does it at the request of $1.99 chats, but instead of just like organizing his thoughts and presenting them like he owns them, he acts like he's doing it against his will, playing all sides at all times.
Yeah, like he said, he's doing it for free now. He's doing it for free. Why not do it for $1,000 a week? Come on, man. Pull your head out. That's right. Yeah. I don't even know that would pan out in the long run. $1,000 a week. I would assume it would be interesting for momentarily, but at some point it would probably wear out. Welcome to the stage, Jody Bananas. Jody B, what up, homie?
Oh, Quadfather, you fucking asshole. What are you doing?
Did I send you the link or something? I don't remember doing that. It was a mistake. I didn't mean to. Can I take it back?
Secret Discord. I get all the links all the time to everything.
All the links all the time. I don't know if you've ever met Jody B. Adam. He's definitely been on WATP multiple times, and he's famous, I think.
Not famous. Lying to me. TV's Adam Busch. Nice to meet you. I'm Jody B.
Nice to meet you, Jody B. I was specifically told Turd Biter would not be here, but I guess it's cool.
Now you've been ambushed, you motherfucker. How about
that?
Jody B in the place to be. That's right.
Listen, I don't want to hang out long. I just saw you guys were talking about Opie, and I saw his little black mouth, and I was like,
little black mouth. Wait. That sounds racist. Hold on.
He's sucking so much little black dick. You should call it Kanye West.
I do this. No, don't do it.
What do you think that is if it's not wine? What is that?
A butthole? I don't fucking know, man. Does he wear
He's a lot of ass.
I get it.
Just tons of ass.
It's funny because we've on WATP reviewed a lot of gay shows, trans shows, and no one talks about gay sex more than BYB.
He's special.
No, it's true though.
Yeah.
We talk about all the taboo subjects here at BYB.
Yeah, but that one a lot. Listen to your own intro of the show. Go back and listen to it. There's no other. It's just that.
Oh no!
Go around the horn.
I have been accused of this before in the past, and I will say, what are you talking about? We don't ever do gay talk stuff. What? That never happened. That's the correct response. I do believe too.
There's only overreaction. It's the only reaction.
Have you guys had a fun show? Did that one guy call in and call Ray DeVito a paedophile yet?
A paedophile. I like that. That's good phraseology. That works a little bit.
That only the ones that shows when that happens.
All right, we'll do the juxtaposition. We got Jody is annoying as fuck, and we got a hi Jody. So you get both. You get one of each.
Okay, I just came by to call Quadfather a cripple and tell Adam Busch that he's lovely. Love
That's
you guys.
not true. I said I will be walking by QuadCon, and that is the that's what we're doing. All right, we got the next one up. Let me see if I got
setter.
How about a trendsetter? Wouldn't that even be better than a goal setter? Oh yeah. Speaking of the goal, folks, why don't you hit that like button, smash the subscribe, and of course turn on those notifications, folks. Absolutely, that's what we're doing here. Wine headaches, Copy Radio, as you can see right there. Let's go ahead and see. I did get some timestamps, so we'll see if we can get to the point. I know it's in the beginning with the
Let's
wine.
say hi to just to a couple people. We got Mint Diggity's first. He's always here, man.
Yeah, so I'm sure being on WATP, you probably noticed the names of the YouTube, the chatters. I'm sure you noticed the names are probably a lot of WATP guys, or you see them around the Dabbleverse, but you can see them. They're really starting to pinpoint in on Opie, which I love. They've caught on. Now they know that he's the target and how easy it is. They're all having a blast. And I love it, man. It's so much fun.
Does Opie not know that YouTube doesn't care if the comment is positive or negative? It doesn't care if the thumb is up or down. It just wants interaction. It doesn't matter. He doesn't understand that.
It's so bizarre because he did a show that was so antithetical to what he's trying to pull off now, which is like, oh, you guys all gotta be nice. It was like, dude, you were one of the biggest assholes there ever has been. You like smashed a bum's cake in his face. Like, you're the worst guy, dude. Like, you're the worst of the worst. Now you're like, oh, I'm a victim. Stop saying mean thing.
And I know Anthony has views that I don't agree with, but I don't see them as often as I do when I'm watching Opie Unleashed interacting with real people, and he can't see a woman as a person. They're only a bitch. He can't see anyone of any color as a person. They're only, oh, is ice coming for you? Like whatever he sees, he has to go to something that's not even offensive as a person. It's offensive as like a comedian, how low hanging his jokes are and how basically just boring and racist they are. I see it from him more often and more proudly, while he claims to be tolerant.
Bingo.
He lets his bitterness show a little bit.
Everywhere. It's all we see, and they are not aware of that. He thinks because he's talking in a funny, high-pitched voice that he's like a clown, not this bitter monster we see.
Bingo. I agree.
And the Mint Diggity. We got Nick. What's going on, Nick? What's up, Gustav? Tom Taylor. We got Gail. We got Hack Right. Bad wine headache this morning. I don't drink wine, dude. Stop. We just knock it off.
Yeah, I mean, is it possible that he doesn't drink wine? That doesn't even make any sense.
Did he offer up an explanation? What is it then?
All right, let's hear.
How about you just join us? How about you join the live stream? I'm not a big drinker. I don't have blue lips. I've never had eye surgery. I've never had any plastic surgery. Just not. You know what? Let's just get rid of him. Cut our losses because he's not. It's not going to get better. All right. Thanks for your $2 and your band. I'll take your $2 and then ban you. That's fine, man. I like doing that. What's up? What's up, Stephen Nass with the $10 from Canada? Anthony is doing a show once a month with Jimmy on W.
So he pretty much at that point he gets into all of the Anthony Jimmy talk. I would love to see his opinions on that as well. But yeah, before we go there, do you believe that Opie's not a big drinker? He does a show at Cat Parts, for example. Why pick a bar if you're not a big drinker? Does that seem like a weird locale for a non-drinker to go hang out at and let us watch you drink beers while you do a podcast?
I think it's one of the few places he has access to and feels safe in. Like, he doesn't feel safe around the vegetables or any of the potatoes or any of the... He doesn't feel safe around anyone. Even Shuli, we watched him.
In a row.
We watched him like run from Shuli because he just didn't trust that he wasn't going to be the butt of the joke. I think Gephardt is a place he feels safe. And I don't know if he's a big drinker, but I don't know what gaslighting really means, but when I'm looking at his blue lips and he's blocking people that mention it, I'm looking at them, they're blue. Offer up an explanation. If that's not what it is, then explain it. Kaylee said maybe it's a health thing. It's definitely something. I feel like if he really had a drinking problem, he'd be more entertaining.
Health problems. Yeah, I don't know what health problems. I don't know. I would say in this. So this is after the one we were just watching, as far as chronologically goes. So his lips are back to a normal. If he does have health problems, I guess it comes and goes. But yeah, I there's no way that was not wine lips, in my opinion, my fair opinion.
Well, yeah. If he just said, "Oh, I was drinking this cranberry juice," we'd be like, "Oh, okay." And if he didn't like freak out and block people that accused him of it, he was like, "Stop, it was just this beet juice I had," we'd be like, "Okay, that's fine." It's his overreaction that make us go, "Fuck, he must be drunk."
Jody B, who was just here 2 seconds ago, maybe he's got leprosy. Boo, hey-o. Good one. We love bad jokes done well.
WABC thoughts? Oh, like zero thoughts. Dante, zero thoughts.
So yeah, this is what you were referring to earlier. And of course, he's asked the $1 million question. What do you think about Anthony and Jimmy crushing it on WABC while you're streaming by yourself like an idiot in the morning? No, I said it much differently than it was asked, but we get the point what they're getting at here. I have no opinions, like you said earlier. Like, yeah, so what, your brain's just absolutely empty first thing in the morning?
Then why are you doing a show if you don't have something to say? What's the point of it?
Yeah, but he's gone in on Jimmy and Anthony. It's not like he's not gone after them on previous podcasts. So like, why? So does he go by his mood? He just wakes up some days and feels like talking shit about him, and then 2 days later, like, oh, I'm not talking about those guys. I don't even think about them. Maybe the fact that they're just beating up on him so badly, he's just feeling a little like a loser. Maybe.
Then why does he feel the need to respond to everything? Like, it. You know, I learned recently that dolphins are like real assholes. They're very aggressive, and they're one of the few animals that like torture for fun. They'll just take a fish and just torture it and just, for fun, bat it back and forth, just beat it until it dies. And they recognize that they're doing it to things that they don't even eat. So it's purely for pleasure. It's not for sustenance. And Anthony recently was like, fuck it. Opie did a good show. Everyone linked to this. And like 500,000 people got this Opie link. And it's the highest video he's ever had in recent memory. And Anthony's like a dolphin, just fucking with them for play. He's like, I don't even need to say bad things about you. Like, everybody go check out his show. That will do enough for me in my propaganda than anything I could say. Just you being you.
Right. And Anthony did say after that, and we don't, I'm probably not going to have time to get to that, but yeah, he was like, I did him a favor and he didn't even thank me. What an asshole. It was pretty funny.
He doubled down. Anything, him and John, anything that helps them, that's the enemy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is weird. But yeah, so like Opie tried to go after Anthony to launch his Opie Unleashed channel. So that day was okay to go after Anthony, but like, yeah, this morning, yeah, totally different. I don't even think about those guys. Well, let's let him finish his own thoughts, I guess, here.
Good for them. It's something they should have done many, many years ago. You know, they had the chemistry at the end of the Opie and Anthony run, and they, you know, for whatever reason, they're both really stupid because they had chemistry, and they should have done something years ago when we still had a massive fan base. And they would have been insanely successful. But all these years later, they're finally doing it. Good for them. Good for them. But that's it. I don't live my life through Anthony or Jim Norton at all. Literally at all.
Yeah. So, is he drinking wine right there? The fool sip. So he starts off by saying, I have no thoughts whatsoever, and then finishes it with a bunch of thoughts, which is they might be kind of basic, and we probably would assume that. I don't know. What do you think about him saying that Jimmy? He's pretty much saying, did you watch recently, Jimmy and Opie, the new video that came out with the argument?
Oh yeah, I did see that. It was amazing. Yeah.
But Jimmy was on there. He said, like, I'm under contract. I'm not like leaving, dude. I'm getting paid to show up every day. Like, this is my job. Like, no, I'm not just leaving to go do something with Anthony at this point. So it's almost like Opie's trying to rehash the same argument. Like, Jimmy should have left while under contract at Sirius, making millions of dollars to just go hang out with Ant, who didn't have a gig at the time. It was like, what? What are you talking about?
Whether he has a point or not, I want to know why he's allowed to criticize the career moves that these people make, but no one is allowed to question why or what he's doing here right now. And when they do, they're enemies. So these people are making choices and making moves, and you say it's not the right move, even though it's successful. They should have done it earlier. This stock they made a lot of money on, they would have made more money if they got in earlier. So they're failures. Okay, maybe, but could we talk about why you're in the dark during the day facing a fucking open window, which is like podcasting 101 you don't do because you have no show. All you have is this view. You know, you can call Jim whatever you want and question any of his beliefs or his sexuality or anything you want to. But he said to Opie in that argument, could you at least consider that at one point during this conversation, there's something for you to be responsible for? And Opie's response was, oh, so I'm responsible for everything? And I was just like, oh, there's no talking to you. You're a child. There's nothing to do. Jim did everything a human being could do to be like, can you just meet me halfway? And Opie was like, I'm getting paid more. Why would I have to?
Yeah.
And he has no regrets. He has learned nothing. He hasn't moved on at all. He's still right there.
You don't believe that, though. He absolutely has regrets, obviously.
No, he's not processing them. Or if he had regrets, they would manifest themselves in some kind of change in behavior. I don't think he's really realized that he's still not doing that job. He thinks he's still that person. You know, John calls himself Stuttering John or the Duke or anything that's not John Melendez. He's still Opie, and he hates it. He said it. He hates being Opie. So then do the Greg show and stop talking about the past.
Yeah, but he's still doing the Opie bit out, like the Opie Unleashed in NYC. Like, I'm sure he loves being recognized. In fact, he was out at the gates at NYU, and the guy right there noticed who he was and was like, oh, you're Opie. He was like, He got, you could tell he was, like the Stuttering John reaction, like, oh, you know who I am? Like, oh boy, yeah, that's the best. That's what I want. But so Opie unleashed, he wants to be noticed out in doing the same kind of antics that he used to do, which is be like a total pain in the ass disturbance. Anybody coming jogging by, I'll get in their way. If they're picking up a dog poop, I'll sit there and make fun of it, like make weird comments to a lady and her kid, like all the nonsense. He's still the same guy, but boy, oh boy, you try to throw a $2 super chat that makes fun of him in the morning, and he's a serious guy all of a sudden that can't take anything, nothing.
He doesn't have words. He can't be funny, and he was surrounded by brilliant comedic minds.
Really?
What he did have, and what he still does, is impulsivity. The ability to just do the impulsive thing that the smart or a little more sensitive person wouldn't do. So when people are going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and then Opie finally smashes the cake, you're like, oh, you did that thing that no one else would do. You made up for your lack of intelligence with this impulsive, brave act that only works in that group setting. And without that, you're just beating on homeless people and shitting on your own mechanic for some reason.
Yeah, just a bad guy. Exactly. Period. But he's like Stuttering John and him. They're always the good guy in the story. They're always wearing the white hat. So they're infallible characters in their own minds.
Matter of fact, I haven't even thought of those guys until I turned this on. It's only when
every day you say this.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say that every day and pretend like you don't have. It's insane. It's insane, literally.
Stop turning that on.
Yeah, I literally haven't thought about these guys. Yeah, when he took that 2-week break or whatever, he came back and was like, why are you guys doing this to me? I haven't thought about that guy for 2 weeks. He's like, no, something tells me you probably think about him probably once an hour at best. It's so ingrained in him. There's no way he doesn't think about him all the time. Yeah, anybody that you've ever worked with in your life a lot or dealt with a lot, there's no way that you just like move on. It's always part of you. You know what I mean? It's in your head. You can't really move on.
They were in a band together. They were a successful band with hit songs. They don't, you don't think Steve Perry thinks about the Journey guys or any of that shit. Like, it comes up once in a while, and to pretend it doesn't, and you're like, why are you asking me about Journey? Because you were the fucking singer. So what else are we going to ask you about? We don't know what you're working on now. Sorry.
It was your entire life for fucking decades. That's why, dummy. All right. I don't even know if there's any more that is interesting from this. We'll just play another second or two, see what he says.
I turn this on, I got to think about them because you guys think about them. Oh my God. Have you been drinking this morning? Dude, Anthony's the drinker. I know what you're doing. Anthony's the drinker.
There it is. The turn. All right. So he just has to say that Anthony's the drunk. I'm not a drunk. So go ask Anthony why he drinks so much. There you go.
I can say that at DabbleCon 2 at breakfast, Anthony did not drink.
DabbleCon 2, that's after the heart attack. So yes, he's not the same Anthony that he was before the heart attack. The Anthony that we used to see going across the street every single day to go to the Sullivan's and hang out with Gino and get shit-faced bombed is not the same guy after the heart attack that drinks a beer a day and is a good boy. He's done good with that. I'll have to give him credit. It's not easy to turn that stuff off just because you had a heart attack. Some people go right back to their old ways after they have something like that. So kudos on Anthony. All right, sir. I think that's a good point to end the show. And I did have your Twitter if you want me to show it.
Oh, sure. I don't mind.
And of course, everybody go watch Adam Busch when he's scheduled to be on WATP. I don't know what else you've been on lately.
This Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. Western Time, 5:30 Eastern, answering all questions, covering all podcasts, and here for you. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey,
Quad.
thanks so much.
Adam,
Adam,
man. Yeah, great guest tonight. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys so much.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. Have a good one. And just like that, he gone. I don't know if you guys we're 3 hours, 15 minutes in. I think that's a show, boys.
Sounds good. Boy, he can talk. Honk the Clown Twitter at Honk's House 666 and UTAB Honk the Clown. And tomorrow night we're going to be doing our Tuesday show, and then we'll be back Wednesday at BYB.
I gotta find Kahuna. I don't know why I didn't do this before and figure out where you're at. Give me a moment. What else? Did you guys have any thoughts on this whole freaking Anthony Cumia? What do you guys think about Antifa showing up? Let's go all the way back to the beginning. Antifa showing up to an Anthony event. Doesn't that shit?
Were they there just for him or for other reasons?
Well, Gavin, I mean him and both of them, obviously.
They were there for the hors d'oeuvres. I don't know.
Hors d'oeuvres.
Hors d'oeuvres.
I'm sorry this is taking me so long. I'm looking like a total douchebag. If it's one of the
it's not a big deal.
Wrong. We got it.
Oh, Gaseous has got it in the chat there already.
I got it. It's there.
There it is. So there's two other things I'd like to plug. First, Mia and Cupcake just started a show.
All right.
We're not set on a date and time yet. We did our first show last week, and
nice.
It's called The Belly Bros. That's after a T-shirt that Joey made about it.
Yeah. I was going to say, that's exactly where I was going with the question. Is that from that T-shirt that fucker made of you?
Nice.
We leaned right into it. Joey's such a dumb fuck. Anyway, that and you can catch me on Honk's show now and then. Catch me right here.
Well, this Tuesday.
I can't promise anything, but I'll definitely try.
Yeah. All right, cool.
And go over and sign up to TCN if you haven't already.
Absolutely.
Got a lot on there.
That's right. Watch the Catalano.
Joey sound good.
Do not watch Catalano TV. That does not exist in anyone's mind ever again. And just because we did do the poll question, let's go ahead and wrap it up. We never got to any freaking steel toe topics. I know we had a shitload of them. If they don't get covered to death by Wednesday, we'll get into all that stuff. But Jesus, I'll tell you what, we left a lot on the table tonight, but that's because we really got in depth on the topics we hit tonight. So Coach
Adam can talk more than you.
Yeah. Did Coach Scott troll us? He doesn't understand trolling. 33%. Aaron is lying about the situation. So that is 65% in total. That and then you add no into that. You got 3/4 of the people don't believe what that the Gotham sign from our thumbnail today. So there is a lot of doubt surrounding that entire situation. Apparently, no one believes Aaron. Isn't that weird, guys? Isn't that weird that people wouldn't just trust Aaron Imholte?
Yeah.
20% said yes, by the way. So actually it's more like 80 fucking percent, actually, to be honest.
Any comment on that, Kahuna?
No, go ahead, Hog.
Anyway, so we'll be covering a lot of Joey C tomorrow on is it tomorrow or Thursday night, buddy?
We'll be covering that fat, dirty Guido bastard in depth tomorrow. We always got the God. And I think we're also going to go after the goddamn no filter with Andrew and them. They're starting to annoy me a little bit. So, yeah, full schedule tomorrow.
I'm not a fan of that. I don't know about that. I like the no filter.
We should vote.
I was gonna say I'm a fan of the no filter people. I have a fucking shirt. I like them. I'm a fan of Granny and Lemmy as well. We love Granny and Lemmy. How dare you not like them? That's not allowed even.
They're not on that show.
Granny's
never
been on
make-
there a couple times.
Yeah, he don't come on no more hardly.
Granny ran off
just
Mr.
on-
A on that
He
show.
was just on the other day.
All right, he just don't come on there often.
I don't.
Andrew
Know.
is
I don't.
only,
I don't. I don't want you beating up on my fellow cripples. I don't appreciate that very much, actually.
No filter, no filter. I love that little.
I had to fight my whole life. I could beat you up even if you had 1,000 knives. Even if you had infinity knives, I would punch you up into the air like a kite. I bet you sleep with the night light, cause you're scared of the dark, cause you stink like a fart. Well, I like your fart on fire with my rounds. You think I won't? I do it all the time. I bet I got more money than Jay-Z. Compared to me, Jay-Z is lazy. Plus Beyonce thinks that I'm cute. It's okay, Beyonce, I think you're cute too. I made out with so many girls. Made out with every girl in the world. I might look small, but I'm not. I don't care if you're big, I'll fight you. Well, I do know that I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stats, I bet you that she calls. Cause I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stats, I bet you that she calls.